Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Chris Nirvana Tool here with his, I guess monthly now it is, monthly breakdown of the meta for the online Warlord CCG events. And this here is the Epic Edition analysis. So a lot of you have been here before. You've seen my CE analysis. Here we go. Midge already talking trash in the chat. So I already know I'm in familiar territory here. Anyway, just like how I broke down the CE analysis, and I think I did just one, or did I do two? I don't even remember. I think I've done two now. I'm already forgetting. Oh yeah, the Saga block, the CE block, and now Epic. So anyway, we're here to break down Epic Edition. And I need to start off, if you've seen any of my other videos, with the same caveat. I am not perfect. I like to think of myself as a good player. So I think I like to have a grasp of everything. I was here for Epic Edition, so I've been through there, but it was like a long time ago. So, and it's not exactly the same Epic Edition that I played in. So I can get things wrong. In fact, I encourage you to prove me wrong. Absolutely. And the fact that we're doing this live, you guys in the chat, you can go just type your comments, being like, Vac, you full of shit. Like, just by all means, just unload on me. You guys are, I don't have to tell you, you guys are already unloading on me as it is. And we have already just started. But I am not perfect. This is just my opinion of where I see the Epic Edition meta going. My analysis of certain cards and how I feel they are in the actual card pool and how I think they're going to perform. But there are definitely things that we're going to miss. I mean, let's look back to the Saga block. I put Teferoth as an ugly warlord. Like, it was awful. 2 Teferoths in the top 4. Just simply because of the necromancer trait. So that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to get it 100%. I like to think I'm pretty good. So, like, even if I'm like, I don't know, let's say I got 80% right. That's the goal I'll set myself for. And I think I can hit that based off of this. But really, like, to start off, we really have to talk about Epic Edition as a whole and the history behind it. So this, for a while you had Saga, and then they announced CE. CE lasted a lot shorter than Saga, I believe. But it was CE was a smaller pool, and then just boom, okay, we're going right back into Epic Edition. I remember, like, we all kind of had a feeling that CE was coming, that there was going to be some kind of reset, but Epic Edition, I remember catching me off guard. As like, oh, okay, we're doing a reset. That's cool. I like small card pools. Like, me personally, like, I that's what I like. I love it when it's like, oh my God, we have a new block, and now we get to, like, dive into it, figure this out, and, like, those early days of editions, I just absolutely love. Here we have, obviously, a complete card pool. So it's a little different, but the thing that I remember the most was they introduced a new rule, which was the Cerebral rule. This is not in effect for this event online. So what the Cerebral rule was, they realized that, stun characters like old Saga and even campaign, like dragon drop decks. You drop a dragon, turn 1, you stun it all the way up to the front rank. No, there's no negative impact for doing that. Those are just free moves and ways that you can just kind of get your dragon up there. So now, like, the clock on when he's ready and starting to do dragon stuff is just, there's no, like, you accelerate it so much more, and there's no recourse for stunning a character forward. They looked at it as a free move, and it's like, if your ranks are getting broken, shouldn't you be punished for it? Well, they came along with this stun rule that we all refer to as a Cerebral rule because it involves the same effect that Cerebral had, the actual card, which I can actually pull up and show. Trying all these different scenes now. Look at me getting all fancy. So, Cerebral, while in play, stun characters that fall forward suffer 1 wound. And that was the same rule that they kind of wanted to throw in here. Any stun character no longer get that free move. For each rank you go, you take a wound. So when you have this new rule kind of getting introduced, you have to design cards a certain way, and you have to compensate for this new, this new variable. So what you'll see is a lot of the characters in this set or in this block, the fourth level characters have 3 HP. Warlords have 4 HP. Like, the HP scale went up. so that, to kind of compensate for this in case you have to do it. So when you remove the cerebral rule from the equation, well, now there's no drawback and they have bonus stats. So we're gonna see. Generally speaking, I think cavalry and mid-range decks are definitely in a better position than blitz and rush. And like specifically, I've always been that kind of a player. Like blitz, rush. I love the old Mike Tyson saying of everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Like I always kind of adopt that with a lot of the card decks I go. It's like you just don't expect, you don't know what's going to go on, and boom, there you go. So I always try and build decks like that. But they can still do that, and they do it very well in this set. But because it's like you can just drop, like if you get 2 or 3 characters out, like it's just hard to deal with because there's just so much meat. So that's really affecting the style of decks I think we'll see for this format. So just wanted to note that. And a reminder, if you are playing in the March tournament, this rule is not in effect, but I just needed to kind of set that into play just so you guys can understand, like, why are cards designed this way? So now we know. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We are going to start off with cards to remember. So these aren't necessarily the best cards in the set. A lot of them are. But it's just, these are things that you need to kind of keep in mind when trying to build your deck or just learning this format on itself. The biggest thing that we can notice other than the cerebral rule is the introduction of the dungeon card type. So I have that over here on the left side with Isle of Madness, which I chose this dungeon to be bigger for the reason that it also has the other mechanic that is in Epic Edition, Daybreak and Nightfall. So I'll just run through these card types real quick. So first, dungeons. There can only be 1 dungeon on the field. It goes into your deck. It's just another card type in there. You can't have more than 25 dungeons in your deck. But I don't think anybody would ever be that crazy, nor do I think it might be mathematically possible. But either way, it's just another card type in its own. There can only ever be 1 in play at a time. If there's already 1 in play, players can't play another one until it's defeated. And the cards have basically the closest comparison would be like global enchantments for Magic, where it's just out there, and the challenge rating is how many levels worth of characters an opponent has to spend in order to defeat this. And whenever you defeat a dungeon, most of them usually have an ability that just happens. Or it's just get it off the table because it's doing some kind of global effect and we need to get rid of it now. So this one, Isle of Madness, challenge rating 9 levels worth of characters. As one of your decrees, you spend it, it gets discarded from play. So there's ones, there's a lot of funky ones here. Like the ones I'm showing at the top, these are ones that I think we're going to see the biggest impact on over here. Malrog's Lair is a auto win condition. It has 3 charges and a challenge rating that's massive. But basically what it is if you remove the last charge from Malrog's Lair, you win the game. I believe it's banned in Ancients just specifically because it's just an auto win condition. But when you take those handcuffs off, people might get creative and do some cool decks. Just want to throw that one out there. I don't know if it's great. It's possible. It'll be cool if someone does it. So just reminding that. But the actual 2 good ones, I think, the best ones are, I can't even read the name, but the quarters over there, the left one. Let's actually just pull that up. I mean, what's the point of having an Accord Lands scene ready to go so I can just kind of pull this up for you guys if I don't actually use it. So there we go. Blackthorn's Quarters. So this basically lets you just search out items. When it has no charges, it's removed from the game. Challenge rating 10 with 3 charges. Rogues have the ability to spend in order to succeed with a perception check, DC 15, or suffer a wound. So there is a drawback. You just don't just go for it, but usually you will anyway. But if you succeed, search your deck for an item with level equal to or less than twice the rogue's level and put it into your hand. So it lets you search out any kind of rogue uber, Kaimi, Fate Stealer, Seeker, the Dwarf, Kaimi, absolutely loves this card. So that's where you'll see the most play. And the fact that it's challenging 10, that's a lot of characters you have to spend just to kind of get it off the board. So very good dungeon. And then the other one, Let's just pull it up. Where's the spire? There it is. The Shattered Spire. Challenge rating 8. Characters have a penalty to attack AC and skill equal to their level. So opposite Temple of Lore. Really, really powerful in a lot of Blitz decks. And this could be one of the keys that offsets the design that higher level characters have just more HP. So those level 4s, sure, they have that extra HP, but they're also now having -4/-4/-4. When if you're playing a little Weenie Rush deck, you can have this one out there. So then they're receiving massive penalties. So I'd say those are the biggest ones, biggest dungeon type. But going back to the ability of Daybreak and Nightfall that's here on Isle of Madness. So Daybreak, it's very simple, and they usually kind of explain it in the actual card text, which is fine, but it might look like a big paragraph of text, so it might be a little daunting at first, but as simple as it can get. Anything with Daybreak happens on the first turn. A Daybreak is an ability that triggers if it is the first turn. A Nightfall is an ability that triggers if it's anything but the first turn. It can be 17th turn, that's fine. Second, third, but as long as it's not the first. So a lot of cards have these abilities. So no Castle Loreth. I don't even remember what that does. I think like your paladins make them do something or another. Let me look that up for you, Dragon Man. What's up? Let's see. So since we're getting requests here, Castle Loreth is another dungeon. So this was part of the Overlord. There is also a Warlord in here. So once I get to the devs, I'll talk about that. But you must spend 12 levels of Paladin to put it into play. Has a challenge rating +1 for each Paladin, and your Paladins have a bonus to AC and skill equal to their level. So this is pretty cool. If you're going to go Paladin theme, I guess in Alaron this can be pretty cool. Okay, it's worth mentioning. It's a high cost to kind of put it into play, though. 12 levels worth of Paladins. Yikes. So I'd say the other two I showed were definitely better. But yeah, this one definitely does have applications for sure. So yeah, I'll shout that one out for sure. So those are dungeons, and those are Daybreak and Nightfall. So other stuff, let's go to, I got to remember how my camera works. These bad boys right here, the Overlords and the big time cards that we're going to see in this. So through all these other blocks, there's always some kind of, I'm going to do a Cortez drop. I'm going to do a Draxon drop or something like that. So in here, it's Orm Algast and it's Arcane Cortez. Two of probably the best Overlords to drop across any of these formats, I would say. Orm is banned in Ancients for a good reason. You just spend a character, move a character, which is insane. You just, he comes out, move your Warlord all the way up to the front, and then I punch him in the face, and that's it. So Orm is disgusting. You're going to see some Orm drop decks, whether that's out of Alisara, out of Priam. It's actually that was always a battle back in the day. And I even remember, those are the days of playtesting. I remember, I saw Orm Algast, and, that was the first thing I did. Was how do I get this dude into play? And, I built a Priam deck in playtesting. I was see, this could do it. And I remember, the feedback was, okay, yeah, that's really good, but, it's fine. Let's just see how it goes. And, they didn't do anything about it. And then out pops Orm, and then everyone's already building Orm drop decks. I remember that. But it was out of Alisara, too. I did it at Priam, and Fish did it here in New Jersey at a Priam too, mainly because I talked about it in playtesting and he knew what I was doing. But, Alisara was also, I think, the faster one. Priam was more of the stable one. But either way, you were able to do that. And then Arcane Cortez, this more came to prominence, I'd say, in more recent Ancients decks. Like you saw Sissy Law with his Belial deck a few months ago. Drop Arcane Cortez and just use Medusan Lord Skyle, which is also here, just as, Overlords play it without spending level 6 classless order. Search your deck for a card added to your hand. So the fact that Arcane Cortez could recur that is nasty. I believe the errata for Arcane Cortez is in effect, though, which is part of the rules. I don't know. So that's something we got to get clarity on. But even if with his errata, he's still really, really good. So just noting those bad boys. Going to just below that, I want to talk about a few different types of themes that we'll see throughout. So the first is that Shadow of Murder. I'm just noting these. There's one for each class. Like the Shadow of Trickery, I think, Shadow of Murder, like one for, yeah, exactly. But you basically, those were from the Dragon's Fury set. Shadow of Murder is probably the best one. It's whenever a character of a named class that you name comes into play, you get a strike, I believe. So those types of cards are around. Cleric one, I don't even remember what it did. I remember the Rogue one being good. But just noting that those exist. The two items next to it, I'm showing Diversion and I can't even remember, Destroyer's Armor. There we go. So this was the block that we introduced set items. So cards, if they are part of a set, we'll say it in the description, like this is a Cartwright set item for Diversion. And they have interactions with other ones. So the Diversion set, for example, is Diversion, Pilfer's Gloves, and Gaudy Hat. And each of them, basically, like Diversion, you just spend an equipped Cartwright item to get a +4 strike. So if you have all three of those, you're getting 3 strikes a turn, which is really good. The other two, the Pilfer's Gloves and the Gaudy Hat, help you search out the Diversion in order to kind of fuel that. And there's a whole bunch of different sets. The Destroyer's Armor is part of the Madman's set, or Mad Artificer set, or whatever it is, which basically turns your level 1 fighter into a massive, I think, level 9 or level 7 like beat stick. So with a whole bunch of HP. And it does, it has like, if you have exactly one of this set equipped, your stats are now this. If you have exactly 2, your sets are like that. So there's a lot of these sets out there, and they're all really cool. They were really interesting. I really like their designs. So just remember that those came into fruition for Epic. So take a look at those. The others, I'm starting with the 2 actions in front of that. Starting with Secrets of the Sun. In one of the sets, we had level 9 actions, 1 for each class. They were absolutely insane, and I believe 2 of them even got errated. Got received an erratum. Yeah, a single erratum, so multiple errata. But yeah, the Secrets of the Sun is, so these are level 9 action. How do you cast a level 9 action without having a level 9 character? Well, they all have the text where you can spend, for the fighter one, you can spend a number of fighters to increase the person playing that action's level for playing that action. So, like, let's say your Warlord is Sargok, and Sargok wants to play Secrets of the Sun while on the front rank. Well, you just spend 4 fighters, and now Sargok is level 9 for playing that, and that's part of the cost of playing the action. And then, boom, everything goes splat. Secrets of the Sun lets you do a +6 melee strike at all opposing characters within 2 ranks. The Rogue one basically was Ydra's Tooth, and that was something that was like, you do the Rogue Secrets of the Guild. It was Secrets of the Guild with passing the Black Knives, which lets you, if you're in the front rank, you spend a number of rogues, and you basically target their Warlord in like the 5th or 4th rank, whatever. You hit once and they just die. That received an erratum. And then the Cleric one was insane, which was basically just, you played it and nobody could attack. No melee strikes or rage strikes. And it was just, okay, everybody's peaceful this turn. That proved to be way too powerful, and then that got changed. They put a level gate on that ability, so like lower level characters can't target higher level characters. It really made it not as good, but it was definitely a needed fix. So those are out there. And the Wizard one just makes everybody fall forward, which is pretty cool. So if you liked playing out of step in the campaign edition or anything like that, go that route. It's pretty cool. And then the last one I'm showing is Slow March. Basically, I'm not even showing you because Slow March is good. It is pretty good, but the ability of what it is. So there are a lot of cards in this block that you play them, and then you either skip your next order to do something else, or it does something immediately, and then you're skipping your next order, or you're skipping your next orders until you fulfill some kind of need. So there's a lot of ones like that in here. So let me pull up Slow March for you guys just so you can kind of see, and I can explain it a little bit better. So on each of your orders this turn, if this character is not in the front rank, skip that order and move that character forward in rank. So there's a lot of powerful cards with powerful abilities like this. Facing the Demons is another one. But the cost that you have to remember is that you're losing tempo, and you're losing the ability to pivot on the actual order you're going to take next. Like sometimes a lot of just the threats that you could either attack with a character or play something from your hand or do something like that will keep people honest. When you play these cards, you're getting a powerful effect, but you're removing that ability to kind of keep people in check. So you got to be careful with that. Facing the Demons, I'm only going to remember the fighter ones. I got that out. So like perform a +0 melee strike on the next order, skip that order, and instead this character performs a +0 melee strike. May not seem good, but when Gunda's using it, it's 2+5s. So it gets pretty good. So just look at, there's a whole bunch of stuff like this out there. Focus shot for rogues. I remember that one. Focus shot. There we go. Target a character 2 ranks away. 2 or 3 ranks away if you're a scout. So scouts will definitely play this card. On your next order, skip that order and instead perform +5 at the target. And that's the thing too. It's like you target lock them, and then no matter where they go, you're going to get that shot very next. It's a very good card. So these types of cards are out there. And, you know, they're ones that I love them just because it's high skill. You have to know when to effectively play it. Or if someone plays against you, you need to know how to effectively deal with it. So love these designs for sure. Coming down to the bottom row of characters over there, just a few to note. Olivark the Quiet, banned in Ancients. Not here, but he's good to go. And he should be almost essentially a one of in most decks. His ability to just cancel a action that targets anybody, you just by sacrificing him. And if not, he's a level 3 character with 2 HP, so he's pretty cool. You expect to see a lot of him. Just be aware of what he is and what he does. And then the epic heroes are also here, showing Sir Tommy of Kalinar here, because he makes all those freaks just do extra wounds, and he's just absolutely disgusting. He's definitely the best hero, I would say. The dev one is really good too. I think I showed him in the last video on this slide, but showing Sir Tommy for this time around. Next one, Kargaz. Why am I showing Kargaz? Well, just because he's worth a lot of money. And this is the set where you can see him. I think, I don't know, what was it, last time on eBay he's going for like $100 or whatever, because it was just a short print promo. But, you know, you don't have to pay for those to play these cards digitally. So put 3 Kargaz in any deck you got that has Undead. Very good card as is. And it's a really cool promo. But, you know, just letting you know, you want to use your Kargazes, now you can do it because, hey, it's free. Go for it. And then last, speaking of overpriced cards, especially overpriced uncommons, we got Nilrem. This is where he comes into fruition. In a lot of the other analyses that I've done, I mentioned how like Gargoyle decks, it's like, oh yeah, is Shonagard good, worth playing? Well, you know, without Nilrem, a lot of these Gargoyle decks kind of lose out. Well, Nilrem's now here, so now you can do Gargoyle decks. But is there a Gargoyle Warlord? Well, yes, there happens to be a Gargoyle Warlord, which we will get to. Don't you worry. The Gargoyle Warlord, I would say, with a capital T, H, and E. But Nilrem's around, and you don't have to spend $50 to play an uncommon. Good God, why do people spend $50 on an uncommon? Alrighty. Let's see. Taking a look now, we have all the other cards over here. So I'm just going to quickly run through these just because otherwise I'll spend an hour on this slide alone. The top row is just cleric stuff to remember. Cheat Death is essentially just Severed Flesh, but for clerics. That was in the Stolen Destiny pack, so let's remember. Blinded Gods is still here. See my last video for Campaign Edition. We talked about Blinded Gods, but that is how Blitz can just, you know, take advantage of that. If you have like the Free Kingdom army and a cleric, just boom, down it goes, and that's the end of that. Final Blessing makes its appearance here in Epic Edition. Final Blessing is a very powerful, not necessarily a healing spell, but it's a healing and a counter to Graveyard Recursion or Discard Recursion. Let me actually pull that up for everybody to see because Final Blessing is absolutely worth it. Here we go. So after target character pays the cost of an action to retrieve cards from a discard pile. So even if they're devouring your characters, which I don't even think devour is legal, but something like that. The target suffers a wound. So just bam, no, go away. So it's denial, or just before someone suffers a wound, give them +1 HP until the end of turn. So keep a character. If they kill a ready character, you get 1 use out of it. Absolutely fantastic card. So it's around. And then the other cleric spell that comes around, because cleric's really disgusting in this format because of reflect. Anyone starting a level 2 cleric, consider slotting this card in. Basically, before you would take wounds, the person who inflicted the wounds has to make a DC 15 plus this character's skill, or take the wound instead. So if your Warlord is playing this, it's almost an auto pass. But even then, there are level 2 clerics that have 4 or 5 skill, and having a level 1 who's attacking your army make a DC 20, and then you just get the offense. It's defense and offense. It's everything you want. It's just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. This card is worth if you're running a cleric deck, slot 3. Trust me, it's just very good. Unless you have a cleric that has no skill, but I don't know if those exist. Seize Life is still around. Veil Passing still around. No exhaustion. So Veil Passing is really kind of in here, not to stop exhaustion, but stop healing effects, stop any of these reacts. Still an absolute fantastic card. The Isidra Tidal Mace. This one is, if you're gonna see this in a lot of Medusan Lord's Gambit's deck, which, spoiler alert for Wizards there at the bottom. MLG still around. MLG still the wizard spell of choice. But Isidra Tidal Mace basically is target a character, they get smaller, one of your guys gets bigger. Attack, AC, and skill. So that makes MLGs, and failing those, much, much stronger. And then Staff of Kazazi is very good in cavalry decks. It's, you can skip your order. You basically, on an order, you put a charge on it when it has 4 or more charges. You can only do that if they have cards in hand. But if you have 4 or more charges, you spend it and you can just ready a stunned character. Doesn't matter. Just boom, up it goes. So people holding cards in hand at the end of turn, watch out for Staff of Kazazi. Just taking a look at the chat. Let's see what's going on, Eric. How you doing, bud? Thanks for watching. Digital means you don't have to drop 5 bills for time stream. Absolutely. Although I'm watching on highest quality, I struggle to read anything on the cards. Yeah, I know. I tried to fit everything on one slide. I did the unprofessional thing that you're supposed to do. I just didn't want to put 400 slides for cards to remember. I'm going to try and wrap up this one quick, but I'm pulling up ones on the Accor lens as best I can. And then everybody talking about how cards are expensive. Reflect Plus and Deal is funny. There you go. Alrighty, guys. Let's try and wrap up this slide real quick, just so we can get to the Warlord, because I know that's what you guys want to see. But Rogues are they get a lot of really good cards in this block. Farglass and Strain the Shot. Sniper Rogues are absolutely a thing. Trevor Magson is going to go nuts. But if you don't want to snipe, you also have Threaten, Life Drainer, and Fast as the Wind, and Knife After Dark, which is all stealth. Like, I'm coming in for you. Like, I'm going to threaten into your army, stand up, walk right up to your Warlord, and stab him to death. Life Drainer, I'm showing, you remove 3 characters from the opposing graveyard to have your strike do an additional wound. There's no Blacksteel Dagger. There's no Yidro's Tooth. So Life Drainer is the weapon of choice. I think Viper's Tongue is around, so assassins might be able to get that. But this is level 6, so make sure you put it on before you get into the opposing ranks. And Fast as the Wind is just a fantastic card. Reclase is confirming that Viper's Tongue is around. Thank you, bud. Fast as the Wind it's either movement, it's order move forward and nobody can react, or it's a react whenever you're performing a melee strike, saying no nonsense, no healing, no reacts, no nothing. So Fast as the Wind. Oh man, I remember my foil Fast as the Winds. I absolutely love those. Knife After the Dark is basically assassination for assassins. And then Monsieur Diplomacy. That's still around. That was around in CE. The ability to keep recurring a DC 20 that does 1 wound, 2 if you're an assassin, is just insane. So Cara Bray Netherin will love this card. Jumping to fighters, just a few. Most of the fighter stuff is very familiar. I only have 3 listed here. Contested Title still around. So how you saw Innocent Wrath doing that with Duty. Just like how we talked about in the CE breakdown. Since that title is still around, only this time I think Parak Soul Saver will be the one doing it, or somebody else will have it. Dragon Buckler is good for those fighter cavalry decks. Sir Alaron will have 3 Dragon Buckler in there. Just all those level 4 fighter paladins will be doing extra wounds and hitting like a truck. And then Silverwind, that's fighters' answers to no healing, no nonsense. Just it doesn't give you extra woundage, but if you're like someone like Sargok, Silverwind's gonna be really good. You ain't gonna heal up anything I'm gonna put on you. So very good card. For Wizards, already mentioned MLG. Wand of Negation makes a return from Saga Edition, so being able to shut off items is very strong. Summon Lesser Fiend is just a really cool one. You've seen Wes have success with it in Ancients out of Vakaros, and it's a level 6 one. Basically, there's 2 Summoner Warlords that can play it. Akiela, or the elf Aquiella, however you want to say, the one who makes Lorand. We'll get to her when we get to elves. Or Alisara can all play this. So, and like when you play it, it basically makes it any character that you sacrifice into a ginormous monster that just rips face. So it's really cool. Twisting the Omens, I'm showing because Cal Blackborn is in this. So since mercs are so far away from what I'm going to break down, I will show you Cal Blackborn right now. So this guy can start and play for any mercenary warlord. He's +1 level for casting spells. So Twisting the Omens is a level 3 spell. His react to run around is because he's a coward, but doesn't matter. All you need to know is that you can start with a level 3 wizard in play. And then let's go to Twisting the Omens. So showing that, getting this one up. Spend a cleric within 1 rank, perform a +4 range strike that inflicts an additional wound. If the strike kills the target, all characters in your first rank gain +4/+4 until the end of the turn. So you have to spend the cleric. But so you can go Cal, Tyron Ruskin out of Tavish Jape, let's say. Do a +7 for 2 wounds, murder a Brine Fiend, and now your army is just insanely big. This is an absolute just crusher of a first action out of like Tavish Jape, for example. So expect to see Twisting the Omens. Lastly, at the bottom, we have just a few more of the generic cards that you'll see. The figurines are still around. They were on the CE, so we don't have to go into them. The Orb of Dragonkind is still here, and there's a lot of dragons that are one for each faction, so you'll definitely see more of that. Nodwick still floating around, so item recursion. The Thrill of Victory, that's an interesting one. It's a level 1 class action, which once a character that you have performs a melee strike or action that killed a character, you play Thrill of Victory and ready an extra one. So if you have 2 Spencers and Brother Domini, the one Spencer swings, hit. The second Spencer attacks, he hits, kills somebody, Thrill of Victory, Spencer comes up, and you just go nuts. So that at a Lady Mercy you'll see. Stolen Destiny, absolutely one of my favorite cards ever. Just because of the blowout potential that is there. We're going to pull that one up on the big screen, don't you worry. Target a non-warlord within 2 ranks, DC 15, or I kill the character that I'm casting this with, and I get that person instead, right where they are. So if we're going to be seeing a lot of mid-range or level 4 cavalry decks, you get a Corin Drac with a Dragon Buckler or whatever out of a dev, and they're sitting in rank 2. Have one of your level 1s cast Stolen Destiny. Watch them roll below a 10. Corin Drac comes to you, you attack their warlord, kill them. So you'll see a lot of oh shit and blowout potential with this card. What else we got? Rescue is still around. Just before a non-melee strike targets anyone in your army, cancel it, and your warlord has -5 AC while that card is attached. So those are the cards to remember. Just generally speaking. And that's how I kind of been going around with analyzing this before we kind of get into where each faction or it is. You have to have this baseline understanding of what the card pool actually looks like. And this is just a primer of where I'm kind of basing a lot of my rankings on. So with that, we move to the Followers of the Storm. Let's go to the Deverinian Warlords. We're going to use the same scaling system. Good, not bad, and ugly. For devs, there's really 3 big ones. Everybody else, but there's a lot of bad dev warlords, but there's a lot of okay ones. So you can do cool stuff. So starting off, I've already mentioned him, Sir Alaron Dilchant, Mr. Calvary himself, with Dragon Buckler. I already kind of went into that. He was around for CE. He's absolutely one of the top decks. I remember throughout most of Epic, he was always there and a threat. Adonis the Kozner, again, another one. Adonis is probably the best, I would say. Adonis MLG is still very much a deck. Alistair is still running around. I believe Cardinal Broman is also still running around. So you still have a lot of the MLG kill you decks, and they just prepare to roll a lot of DC checks. And then Ginnerva the Moon is a new one that we didn't see in Campaign Edition. But it's die manipulation. Just being able, you roll 2d20s, you store them on her, and then you can set the die to those rolls. She's a very good cower roller. She's a seer too. Gets a lot of use out of that. So I believe if you've read Wes's article on SagaTheStorm.com, he kind of went through his top 10 favorite decks of Saga. We got a shout out there for Kothka, but not talking about Kothka. We're talking about Iceman's Ginnerva deck. If you go and read up on that, he basically made a control version with that Warlord. So check out his article just so you can see. So let's go to Not Bad. I'm going to start on the right side. I'm going to get right to it with Dowin Stormlust. Again, I've said this in every single one. Dowin should be good. Everything on this card says, okay, this is a good Warlord. He does so much. But he just he always falls flat on his face. He's cursed. On this stream, Nirvana Tool says Dallas Stormloss is cursed. Break that curse and you have unlimited power. But so I put him in the middle tier just in case anybody, he should be good. But you're not going to do good with him. So just calling that one out. But going back over to the left, Talib Alcir, a Warlord very close to my heart, the Warlord I used to kill Arcos Loth. And I did it by Zaros up, threaten in, Cardinal Broman, make him big, Nothrog daggers, because Arcos Loth is bigger, attack, if you still breathe, and just hit, and kill the Medusan Lord that way. He can do that for Warlords. So he's really cool. And just his ability, he also has a lot of manipulation, a lot of tricks built in, just once per turn, just once per turn, he can just redirect an action to another character, which is, he has his own built-in protection, but then he also has card draw ability where his react is after a strike or action has been redirected to a character, you kill that character and you draw a card. So if you play Ged Nuri to redirect a melee strike off of one of your level 1 characters, before that strike would resolve, you can just kill it with Talib, kill Ged Nuri, and draw a card. So basically you cycle through a card from your deck and refill your hand and cancel a strike. Really cool, really powerful. The Bloody Countess, we see the chosen version of her next in 4E, which we'll talk about next month. But this was the Deveridian one. Has the ability to just spend and win initiative, and then after you win initiative, discard 2, draw 2. So with fighters, the ability to have the movement necessary to get to the front rank turn 1 and just hit like a truck, that's what front rank fighters want. She gives a little bit more consistency to that because she lets you cycle out. So she's really good. But again, front rank Warlords, especially now with all these meaty characters, are just, they really are glass cannons. She can just absolutely trucked, or she can just truck you. I'd say she's probably she's definitely Dev's best option for a front rank fighter. Madriga is here for a Cantor, level 5 cleric. Again, the Cantor trait is why you go Ginnerva. And a general rule for me, it's always why do I put someone in bad and someone in ugly? Or why do I put someone in good and then a similar looking Warlord in ugly? It's one of those, if one is clearly better than the other, there has to be a reason for you to want to play that other one. So with Madriga and Ginnerva, usually if you want a level 5 Dev Warlord that's a cleric, go Ginnerva. But with Madriga, there is a little bit of a niche where you'll go for her if you want to go for a rush deck. Her Daybreak and Nightfall abilities, wound her to kind of boost up the attack. And she has a lot of synergy in here with cards like Lady Helena, which gets an extra strike when her attack bonus is up a certain way. And even then, it's just a cleric. Incanter ability, so she can lift up your voices to just make everybody huge. A lot of cool stuff you can do with her. Carnal Cray is also here. He's a canter. So again, I would normally put Carnal Cray down, but his penalty ability to kind of point, click, and delete makes him the more cavalry option too. And again, the canter trait is just so good. You'll never use his repost, don't worry. But Carnal Cray, I could see it going to ugly, but it's just I've seen him have so much success that we put him in the middle right now. And we already mentioned Dallin the Cursed. So let's talk about some ugly ones. Edric Dilchant. I'm actually going to pull him up just so we can kind of talk to him. Edric, what you got? Here you come. Switching scenes. There we go. So he was one of the Overlord kits, and that's what they wanted to do, AEG. They wanted to, for like, you know, all the, like Sir Tython, the Jalile, all these other ones, all the previous, you know, Overlord kits, like, okay, well, it's just an Overlord character. Most of the time, they just sit in the binder until they get signed, unless you have some kind of, you know, drop deck, which sometimes that just wasn't viable. So it's like all these valuable cards they're giving away that they can't really play. So they found a way. It's like, well, let's give you a card you can play and still have the Overlord kit. And so like they found a way to kind of give you an extra Warlord that is playable in normal sense, and then use the Overlord rules to make this into a challenge kit, which was really cool. I really like that idea. But here we just get, you know, essentially an average paladin. He's +1 level for equipping steeds. He can't receive penalties or bonuses to his stats from action cards, so no contested title. Once per turn, after he performs a melee strike that kills the target, draw a card or shuffle 2 from your discard pile into your deck. That shuffle into your deck is clearly something for an Overlord who's going to play with a 25 card deck. But normally with, you know, you're just going to draw a card. Every kills once per turn after you kill somebody, he draws a card, which is okay. Again, it's just a very average Warlord. If you want to go Paladin, you're probably just going to go Sir Alaron over Edric. So that's why Edric's down here. Overall, like the actual design of the card, it's a fine card. He's got nice stats. 15 AC is pretty good. 3 HP. He probably should have a 4th. 8 skill is really good for a fighter. So again, you could do something with him, but not a lot going on here. Talk to him like the intervention. Oh my god. I'm just checking out what some of you guys are saying. Rescue is really good at him. That's true. He can play rescue and not have to worry about it. So that is true. Looking at other people, Baron Bastion is he does some cool tricks where he just kills lower level Deveranians, I think, or lower level characters. They have to be, I believe, 4 levels lower. So you can play tricks that increase his level and then just watch him just munch somebody. Let me get him up. No, I spelt his name. I'm just typing Baron. Baron B, where you at? Bastien. There we go. Switching it up. Let's get him up here. I'm only doing this for the ones that like they have like a mountain of text, so you have to zoom in to read. And for a non-warlord character, 3 or more. Okay, so it's 3. I thought it was 4. 3 or more levels lower than him, so he can just, you know, kill a level 1 or level 2. Performs a melee strike that wounded him. Just you go to poke him, it's just like, no, you die first. And you can discard a Deveranian card from your hand to remove a wound from him. So he kind of screams front rank, you know, do massive stuff like let him get hurt, kill, and then heal. It suffers the same fate as Dallin Stormlost. Dallin, you can do this and get an extra class out of. So I say go Dallin over this guy, for sure. Let's go back. Beyond of the Mystical. She has like these are warlords that have like once per game abilities. Like I'm just not a fan of that design space. Because like it should be something that's just more. So after she kills, performs an action that kills somebody, she can increase her level by +1, which you can probably do a lot of cool stuff with that. Like the tools aren't really necessarily in here, but her spend order is she casts Magic Missile equal to her level. So like if you're gonna boost up her level to like level 12 and then do a one-off Magic Missile, that's really cool. That's like an awesome deck, but it's just not strong. So it's just really not like Sanjitan's saying, like she's so neat. She is. It's just power level is not there. So like you play Biana, that's awesome. You can have fun doing that. But as we saw with Cassia the Saint and my dealings in Campaign Edition, you could do cool stuff with Cassia. That doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna win multiple games. Colton the Bleak, he's down here too. He has like, he's a wizard with stun tech, which is really cool. And like that's again, like that's another design space. So I like the design of him that he gives you that flexibility to, you can go rush, 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 and then if something kind of gets through, you can kind of control that and keep maintaining the pressure. But he just never really took off, so I have him just down here. It's one of those, like, you're going to go Wizard, just go Adonis anyway. And that's why we also have Big Daddy Slayer down here at Ugly. Just the ability to stand up, that's really it. Again, he was one of the first Warlords designed, and the card pool has just gone so much past what is good and what is not good. So because of that, Slayer kind of suffers. But he's still really cool. That's why I put him as the overlay for this, for the intro of this stream, because it's badass art by Jason Engel. Definitely check out and support Jason Engel. He's been good to our community. He's done awesome art. Show him some love. Get a print. Do whatever you can. So those are Deveranian Warlords. And again, guys, I know we're all kind of interacting in the chat as it is, but like if you have any questions or you have anything that you want to kind of call out or disagree with strongly on this list, just shout it out. I'll always just kind of wrap it up here as we go through each one. But so far, so good. I don't know if anybody's going to really take too much issue with this, but let's look at the next slide of potential starters for the devs. And a lot of these look similar to what you saw in CE, and you're going to see a lot of that. Just this is like that middle gap between CE and Epic had some of the all-star starting characters that you'll see. But there are a few new faces. So everyone on the level 1 is all ones we saw at Campaign Edition. Everyone should be familiar with it. Deveranian Courtier, Dilchan Keeper, Sheen Court Initiate, and Get Carol. They all serve a certain purpose based off of what you want to do. Like if you need a cleric, Sheen Court Initiate's good, and he gives you stability. Dilchan Keeper, he's a paladin, but has melee strike cancel ability. If he could cancel range strikes, he'd just be the ultimate decider. And then Dev Courtier is if you need 2 HP. But you don't need to mount offense. So, like, you can kind of choose what's going there. Get Carol, you put Get Carol in if you're Adonis the Kozner. And that's really where he fits in. But he's the absolute choice in there. Apprentice Rama is the newcomer here. Apprentice Rama, who is banned in Ancients for very good reason. But this card is still really good, so we got to talk about it. Once per turn, after an opposing character targets a Princess Rama with a melee strike or action, so basically just targets, kill a Deveranian in this rank, cancel the melee strike or action. You may put a wizard spell from your discard pile to your hand. So why is this card banned in Ancients? Because Severed Flesh exists. 3 Apprentice Rama in rank 1, plus if you draw Severed Flesh, unless they have a Veiled Passing or some other way to kind of cancel that, you never lose a front rank. They just constantly cycle each other out. Luckily, there is no Severed Flesh in this, so Apprentice Rama should just be a good card. But you can start one of him in your starting army to just kind of be there. If you're going to play a wizard, like especially if you're going like aggressive wizard spells, like have Takia the Disjointed, play a level spell in rank 2, and then like that final power, that fiery bolt that sits there in the discard pile. And then if they swing, Apprentice Rama can do his thing, trigger a Gene Court Initiative with his ability, and then get you back that spell. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do there. So let's see. Was that all the existing Deveranian Warlords? I thought there were more. Eric, so this is for Epic Edition specifically. They only had a certain number. Yeah, that's all of them. Pretty sure. We're not talking about Ancients or Open as a whole, just specifically for Epic. That's what it is. So the bottom ones that we saw last time around, Acolyte Dora still around, just 4 die is rolled, roll 2 dice. And it's a planner character, so innate defense. It's a cleric, can play Reflect, and can make you roll 2 dice to make sure that Reflect stays. Absolutely the best starter, in my opinion. Cal the Shifter, you get really cool with Adonis the Kozner, with Get Carols, just shifting them around, making them do checks. Adina, I have in here, just I've seen them used in like before, where like if you roll initiative multiple times, probably won't see anything worth it. But I was just like, yeah, it's a level 2 wizard. Yeah, let's just put it out there. But she gets a +1 range strike and can gain that ability multiple times, and has +1 level until the end of the turn. After you roll initiative, after you lose initiative, she gains 1 level. So there you go. That's why I put her in there. You can get that level 3 wizard with Cal. See, guys, it's not like I prepared. I did these slots, and then I'm like, I should write notes with my flow and make it. I was like, screw it. We'll just go through it as we go. So sometimes I stumble over myself and say things that don't make sense, but that's why you guys are here, because if I do stupid things like that, you just tell me I'm wrong and stupid, and then we go from there and all have a good time. Kenton Relian is here. I think he's a new one. He was in CE. I didn't mention him, but I probably should have. So I'm mentioning him here now. We didn't see it, but you could do some cool stuff where it's once per turn, after a character within 2 ranks rolls a critical failure on a melee or range strike roll, perform a melee strike targeting that character. So he fits very well with Gene Coordination, who makes, once he dies, he makes the next strike a critical failure. So you sit 2 Kenton Relians there, and you have Gene Coordination. The second somebody rolls a critical failure, just bop, bop, there we go. 2 swings right at those characters. So it's really cool. Ged Carroll could also, when you fail that DC 9, makes it a critical failure. Diligent Keeper, when you pass that defense check to cancel, quote unquote, cancel strike, you make it a critical failure. So you can all trigger Kenton Relian with this. So really cool. And there's other cards like Pouncing Lunge, which is a level 2 spend order that lets you do a melee strike, target a character 2 ranks away and like pushes somebody back if you hit. Kenton Relian could do that too. Tyga the Disjointed is here if you wanted to have action advantage. After a warlord within 1 rank performs an order, she performs an order and gives you +2 on initiative to make sure you win it. So, just the amount of, I take 3 actions before you take 1. She lets this go, especially if you do a wizard spell blitz. So she gets noted there. But those are the Deveridians. Moving on, we go to those cave dwellers. Let's go to the dwarves. And first one, we're going to go right in the top middle. That is the Gargoyle Warlord that I mentioned. Stonefist Gargoyle makes his appearance here in Stolen Destiny. Still one of the best warlords in Ancients, and definitely going to be one of the best warlords in this event. Let's feature him on the big screen. Well, this is a surprise. So Stonefist Gargoyle only has 1 strike, 4 HP, fighter cleric, has power attack, hits like a ton of bricks because he inflicts additional wound with all his melee strikes. Order spend another gargoyle in your army within 1 rank, perform a +6 melee strike. So you could really just stun him up there, or like put a, just get him to the front rank spent or whatever, and then just start having all your gargoyles turn sideways to just murder ranks. He can do 3 wounds in 1 shot if he passes power attack. He has the healing to survive in the front rank. He's got a lot of tricks just being fighter cleric. And Nil Rim, you get 3 Nil Rim into play with him. It's a 22 AC, 4 HP fighter cleric that is just going to murder everybody. So absolutely, this is the dwarves' best warlord, I believe. No question about it. So he is up there. No surprises to anyone else. Priam, carried over from Campaign Edition, can do Orm Drop, can do Dwarven Cavalry, and has the innate ability to ready to get more mileage out of those mid-range characters. Absolutely worth playing. The only drawback, of course, is the speed. He is very slow, but we're talking about dwarves here, so nothing is very surprising there. Trespass, still very good. Assassin has the ability to jump in. The revision to the stealth rules still gives him the ability to cancel a strike once per turn outside the army. Makes it a little bit more vulnerable if he's going to get multiple strikes in the army, but with the amount that assassins get between Threaten, between Fast as the Wind, all those other rogue ones I kind of mentioned, Knife After Dark, Monsieur Diplomacy, Trespass is very, 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 very dangerous. Can just suddenly murder your face without looking. Then we have Kaimi Fate Seeker. So there we go. It's Fate Seeker. She interacts with the dungeon mechanic just once per turn, can remove a dungeon from the game from her hand to pass a check to search for an item that they can legally equip and equip it. So Kaimi can go Uber. Kaimi can search out just the armor she needs, the weapon she needs. She can go with the Night Mist set. She can go with the Diversion set and just keep fishing out all of these cards that you need. So a lot of consistency. And that's what makes her so good. And stats like 17 AC, 9 skill. That's all really good. So you can run her up to the front and she can defend too and protect any of your guys. So if she does go uber, she can make sure that everyone's all well protected. Could be good. And then Parak Soul Saver is the Dwarf Paladin. That's good. I think there was a lot of discussion I saw in the Discord from Andrew Getting whether or not dwarves can have a Paladin Warlord and if they would be a Paladin, it would be evil. Well, this guy kind of just, took a shit all over that story arc. I don't really know the story behind Parak Soul Saver, but I can tell you just he's a truck. So his order to just slowly get bigger, +2/+2, he can do that 3 times per turn. So sacrificing tempo to get more stability. Very dwarven themed. Has 4 HP, 9 skill for a fighter, which is awesome. But he can be going contested title all day long. And that's what he will do. There was a match many months ago that I streamed in the Good, the Bad, the Ugly tournament, top 8 against Dow Foster. He played Parak against my Vacherosh deck. And Parak just got stupid high and contested that title first turn, and it's one you just can't pass. So he'll do a lot of that as well. You can also discard 2 items to, I believe it readies him, right? Yeah, to ready him. So all those extra Uber items that you're using for him. So you run 3 contested title, and then you run, 20 plus items for Parak, and then he goes to the front rank. He lives and he murders things. Going to not bad. I have Durin Core Touched. Again, that art is just so cool. I might be overrating him. I think you can do cool stuff with Doran, but again, Priam's just a better cleric warlord. So I put him in not bad. I don't have the heart to put him in ugly just for the art alone. But and the fact that Bramble is not what it was when he was around, because when he was the best deck in the environment, Alhan's Bramble was not errated. Yeah, so it was use him to search that out, put it on a big dwarf, get him to the front rank, and just the front rank is making DC 39s or whatever it is, they're taking wounds. Then we have Sagrita. She's here. She was a new base set warlord. The ability to start with a level 8, I believe it's helm, armor, or shield. Yeah. So her ability to start with it, it leaves really cool things and lets creative deck builders build something really unique and different. Kind of like why Sakara is pretty good, just the ability to choose an extra starting card. I love it from a design perspective. I love it from an actual gameplay perspective. She just, again, there's other front rank fighters that are better, but you could do something with her. So she's going to get in the middle. Berlane the Stout, he does a lot of cool tricks, just moving items around. 4 HP for a front ranker, so he can go up there and survive. Doesn't have a subclass, so he's kind of middle of the road. And join the summit, they learn to play Warlord. He can be really good with cavalry because he's standing up characters who are equipping items and making them +1 level for it. But usually for a support, if you want to go support fighter, that's who you go for. But usually you're going to go for a support cleric. At the very bottom, the Broken Earth. Unfortunately, really cool, just not as good. Misses a lot of tricks and just doesn't have it really going for him. Rockholm, the lone dwarven wizard, has charges and just does. Let's actually pull Rockholm up here, get a cool look at it. So when you see the name Rockholm, we had seen that in lore, and we saw a whole bunch of mentions of it being a place, and then it's an actual guy. So I remember when this guy came out, I was like, oh my god, this guy's so cool. But he's just not a great warlord. So you can spend an item to put a charge on him and then remove 4 charges. The next spell doesn't, you don't have to spend a cast. So again, it's kind of like Slayer. Why would you ever really need to do that? If you want to play a dwarven wizard, this guy's cool. The art, again, also really cool. But the fact that he powers his spells through his items makes it very clunky from a deck building perspective. You have to find the right mix of items that he can use and that don't spend to do whatever they're going to do to fuel his ability, and then be able to cast a spell that's worthwhile. It's just really clunky and really hard to pull off. Grace Hearthbride is a rogue cleric. That's really the reason why you would play her if you just really want those 2 classes. But otherwise, just all the other warlords really just do something better than her. And then, all right, you guys were talking about this other gargoyle warlord. So let's pull him up. Grace is a weird warlord. Yes, it is. Let's show Grace too. Earth Pride. See, female dwarfs do exist. Where am I going? Here we go. Rogue Cleric. Your clerics have the ability before suffers wounds. Discard a cleric or rogue action card from your hand to reduce the wounds. So she gives, she gives you flexibility of your rogues and cleric actions, but then you're gonna build her up as a action heavy front rank character because she needs to save. I mean, you can do it as, I guess you can do it as a cavalry. That'd be a little weird. But yeah. So she's a weird one for sure. You know what? That's a good that's a good one. She's a weird warlord. Let's just stick to that. And then let's go with Arudun. Arudun of the Stone. Once per turn, after target gargoyle in your army is killed, reveal the top 10 cards of your deck. You may put a revealed gargoyle of equal or lower level that target into play ready in the target's former location in any army. Shuffle the remaining cards. So basically, it gives you a lot of ability where, like, if your gargoyles are dying, you just replace them with another one. The issue is doesn't have the longevity of Priam. Why is he under ugly instead of not bad per se? You can probably build a cool deck. It's going to be a slow deck with him. But then it's like, you have to think, why am I playing this guy over Priam? And one thing that Reclesis mentions here is Jet Gargoyle is awesome. That's right. So because of the way that Aradin's ability is worded, if you have a gargoyle that's stealth into the opposing army, you can just drop an Anthrol Gargoyle into play or something like that. I think you can do an Anthrol Gargoyle into play with Jet Gargoyle, whatever it is. So you can just do a cool thing like that. If you're able to kind of build up to that awesome ability and let's knock it out of the park, that's really the lane that this guy will stick in. But otherwise, if you're just going to be like, well, I just want a dwarf cleric that's going to do so, you have Doran and you have Priam. That can just be better. So that's why he is ugly. And if you guys have some kind of fast Aradin the Stone deck, do it. I want to see it because it's really cool. So these are the Dwarf Warlords. I think you're going to see a lot of these names in the the top standings of the month. Assuming people, like, the only thing that holds them back is they're good. The only thing that holds them back is players just hesitance to play them because they might be a little slower. But there are a lot of Dwarf Loyalists out there. I know it. I've seen you all posting, so I can definitely see a bunch of Stonefist, a bunch of Trespass, definitely a bunch of Kaimi for sure. So yeah, Dwarves are in a good place. And then look at how many different potential starters they have. A lot of these were still around for like campaign edition ones, so I'm going to fly through them. Nevin and Magnite Gargoyle are new. So Magnite Gargoyle is while it has +1 HP while adjacent to a cleric and has defend. So you can do Magnite, Nevin, Mendlight, and another Magnite and just be able to defend it. Hope that one of your Magnites get a wound. They have +1 HP, and then Nevin just medicine checks to remove that and levels up. Another theme in this set is characters' ability to level up once they do things. So Nevin levels up and gets an extra HP and gets more medicine whenever he passes a check and removes a wound. So you can start getting like a formidable character out of level 1 guys and just leveling them up, which is really cool. Linnea Warsong is there, just generic. If you want some offense of a +2, but then you have the defense of healing because once she dies, she floats a healing wound. So she's there. Damrest is very good at Daybreak and Nightfall. So Daybreak ability is spend, react, heal a wound, or reduce the wound by 1. So gives you that stability for turn 1 just to get set. And then the Nightfall ability gives, once he dies, he just gives adjacent dwarves +4 attack so they can hit back. Very good, very good. I'd say he's probably generically the best, but like each one of these, like there's so many different ways you can go with them based off of the Warlord. Like you're not going to start him in Stonefist Gargoyle. You're going to start gargoyles. Opal Gargoyle is one of those gargoyles you will start, usually of a one of. After an opponent passes, play Opal from your hand. If you have a cleric in play, ready a dwarf fighter with 1 printed strike. Stonefist Gargoyle has 1 printed strike and is a fighter. So you start this Opal, put it in your hand, and then you could even just stun up Stonefist Gargoyle to the front if you don't think they have anything immediately after that. And then just once they pass, it's just boom, here we go. I ready my Warlord, and now I'm going to town on you. Or just, even if you're stunned and you do the both pass, and now the turn has to end, you can still react to the Opal, ready your Warlord, and then you have your Warlord ready in the front rank, just set to go off. So Opal Gargoyle, absolutely insane. Would start with the Serpent Scale Gargoyle all the way to the right. That one is also a very good choice for Priam. Just while your front rank has as many or fewer characters as your back rank, he has +1 HP. So you should start 2 of him with the Opal. Opal bounces back. You have 2/2/1. You have 2 HPs worth of. We have 2 HP for these gargoyles up there until ranks start getting broken. So insanely good in Priam. Just the fact that it's a gargoyle is why you're going to start it in Stonefist Gargoyle. So absolutely good. And then Quartermaster Dirge is in here for the Uber ability. Before, nothing really fancy about the stats, really nothing to write home about there, but once it dies, it gives any dwarf in your army +1 level for equipping items and an opposing character -1 level. So if you're going Uber, this is absolutely awesome. Like, go ahead, swing, please. Let me be able to play my level 9 and 10 items. No problem. All while disrupting you, too, in case you have items in your deck. Very good. Demented is the level 2, is a level 2 HP option. Has the ability to kind of stun or spend characters based off of the number of other classes you have in there. Just very good. Just for 8 AC and 2 HP just is always worth consideration for a starter option. Focus is to give your cleric warlords like Priam just the ability to heal ready. Once you ready them, they just attack and gives you a lot of that speed you need. So if you go surprise with prolong the fight, Focus just lets them swing right away. So that way, you can ready a character who might already be wounded, or just if they ready, that's what your opponent's going to kill right away. Well, Focus gives you that tempo of the swing, and gives them that needed speed. Lightstone Gargoyle, just when I fall forward, I swing. Very good for Stonefist still too. Preen is the interesting one. You have a level 2 wizard here, but let's pull up Preen so everybody can see. Because Preen is getting play in Ancients too. This is an absolutely awesome card. Once per turn, after a melee strike that targeted a dwarf, the attacking character must succeed with a DC 13 or suffer a wound. So it doesn't have to spend, doesn't have to do anything, but if you're going to do melee. So starting this against Spencer Latham, very, very good. So absolutely worth consideration for the defensive and offensive ability. Let's go back to Shadowstone Gargoyle. Built-in stealth, can jump into the opposing army. And so, hey, there you go, arrowed in the stone. You can get your Shadowstone Gargoyles in there and then start putting other gargoyles in. But just his stats are really good too. And he's just, he's just a gargoyle. He's gonna fuel you play him in Stonefist Gargoyle, and he has these built-in protection for himself. Wall's always going to be here. Wall's in every single format. He's the dwarves, probably the dwarven character. When you say what is dwarves, the Wall is around, because it very much describes what that faction is all about. And then lastly, we have Arla Favorsight. That's how you're going to be able to pull off Contest Thy Title with Parek's Soul Saver. Start one Arla, and you can start a Wall, you can start a Brain, whatever. But just start one Arla, and Parek goes order. Doesn't have to worry about exhaustion getting spent while doing those orders. So they got +6/+6. Then you Arla when they have 21 AC, so now they get +11 to their attack, and then you can test Thy Title. They're not. It's really hard to beat them out when they do that. So Arla gives those Uber decks that ability. So those are the dwarves. I expect to see the dwarves perform very well. They haven't really performed too great in these last few events, but this one I think they're going to break through for sure. Moving on to the elves. So there might not be a lot of surprises. Actually, you know what? I think there might be some surprises. I think I might have to explain some of these. So the elves, here they're still insanely good warlords and very few bad warlords. We mentioned on the analyses before that someone at AEG really favors the elves because they just always seem to have a broken warlord. Cerulean Calyx was that broken warlord for a while, so much so that it had to receive an errata almost immediately. because it was just insane the amount of card draw you can do. But let's see. We have Cathal Rowan. He's a learn to play Warlord Scout. Mentioned this, in campaign edition. He comes around for Epic as well. He is the range strike shooter. Starting Irolos, which drain the shot to get that extra wound, kills him, and then does another shot. Like, he has just so much ability to snipe. And with Farglass, with the diversion set, Cathal is just super solid. If you're a newer player, or if you're someone who played back in the day and you're so rusty, you don't really remember what to do, you can pick up a Cathal deck and do very solid with it. It's straightforward Elven Blitz offense, and it can handle just about anything. And then he has the built-in control ability to spend anyone he hits with a melee strike. So that way, if you don't have the wounds, if you're going up against pesky dwarves, you still kind of control them a bit, even though you might not necessarily be killing them. Carebrain Netherin, Elf Assassin Extraordinaire. DC checks up the wazoo. Wound, murder your face. Best rogue option for sure. Not going shoot. So Cerulean Calyx, we're going to pull up to the big screen. Cerulean. Here we go. Let's see what you got, man. So, is a Wizard Cleric Seer, which already makes it insane. They usually 11 skill. Like, get the out of here. Like, oh my god. So, Daybreak. If it is the first turn, your elves have the ability order once per turn succeed with a DC 20 to inflict a wound on one character. So, first turn, some of these elves, like Irolos, can make a DC check, die, get their shot, and then just also wound it. Mind you, DC 20 for like all these lower level characters to pass is really hard. But if you just roll really high, there you go. Or if you play something like Lift Up Your Voices, I believe QTP, I think it was, is mentioned in Wes's article. Somebody actually did that in a few tournaments back. And that's exactly what I would do too with this Warlord. It's really cool. You can do that in this event too, for the most part. So then everyone wants people in the chat is like the errata, like what's going on with that. So the errata is on the order. Kill one of your elves, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You may put a revealed spell from your hand. You may put a revealed spell into your hand. That's once per turn. Thank God, because that's what it was to begin with. It's just, all right, cool. I have my starting army. I use them. Now I use them to get a spell that I'm going to use to throw at you, and I kill another one to use a spell. It was just, how did this get through playtesting? I was on playtesting. I don't remember how this got through. Like, this should never have existed. So thankfully, it got errated very quick. So the erratum. Order once per turn, kill one of your elves, reveal the top 5, blah, blah, blah. If the character is killed for cost for her order, does not die, Skyrock, then the cost is not considered pay. So yeah, so like ones that prevent death, you just can't get that and that. And her order to draw and retrieval from the deck, if you choose to put a revealed spell into your hand, it cannot be performed while you have no cards in your deck. 0 effect rule. So it's just that errata. This is once per turn. Everything, but even with that, she's still like really good. Like, just those 2 classes, those abilities, and just, killing your own elves will fuel some of their abilities and also get you a spell, which can be of any class. With those stats, absolute contender. And then let's go to the other cool one that I put up here. This guy never really got too much time to shine in Epic Edition because it kind of came out with Stolen Destiny at the very end. But still a really, really, really cool Warlord. So it is the Necromancer of choice, Theckham Netherin. Once per turn, after Theckham kills target opposing character, remove the target from the game and put a level 4 or lower elf from your discard pile into play in the same location, army, and orientation as the target. The elf has permanently gains. And so you can do, like, there's a lot of abilities like Severed a Bone. Or not so, yeah, I think it's Severed a Bone, where you pitch a card to stun somebody. And then, like, so you can just pitch Bratgast and just put him in the discard pile. And then with Theckham, after Theckham just murders somebody with an ability, just boop, here comes a Bratgast into your opposing army. Really, really, really cool Warlord. Really powerful effect. Anyone who's been a follower of my show has seen the Laughing Larry. The original Larry, who is the inspiration for that little alert, actually built a very good Theckum deck. So if Larry can build a good Warlord deck, that means anybody can build a good Warlord deck with this guy. So that shows you, because he was a terrible player. So Theckum is very, very, very good. Would love to see somebody just truck this tournament with him. So let's go back. Noticeably, one that I just dumped into the not bad section is Etra Bloodvine. At the time of Epic, Etra Bloodvine would be up there and good, may even be the best. I ran Etra for a while in Epic Edition. Was absolutely disgusting control warlord. The problem is, without the stun rule, it loses a lot of the punch it had. Because Etra would just be pushing back. Bubble, thank you for the follow, bud. So Etra would always just spend a druid, target a character in the opposing front rank, and just push them back. So that gets really good, and very, like, you can play control-y actions and do all that stuff and just keep everything control. And then once everything's stunned and now you're pushing them back with druids, you're doing wounds to them. So he's designed with that. Really good in Ancients, but with Epic, like, without that rule, without the access to the actual card cerebral, like, just loses a lot. So still, we have him is not bad. Borderline good, but just it is missing a lot of punch. So Etra, you get put down into the mid tier. So let's go through the other ones. Aquiella, I mentioned before, with Summon Lesser Fiend. Really, really cool Warlord. But, just never really a front ranker. You can do a lot of awesome stuff with this and just generate tokens and go. Avarice Glynn, we saw Wes win the Gen Con World Championship with Avarice. A lot of those cards, I don't think they really exist. Pretty sure in this form. I think that's why I put him there. So, like, loses some things like Conjure Storm. There might be some other spells that just target without a rank and just let you just one-shot it. But you can probably do something like that in this tournament, but it just won't be as consistent as how he did it. And even then, like, what he won with, I think he even says, like now if people kind of see it coming, like, now, like, they know how to kind of pack the answers for it and kind of stop that deck. So that's the thing. Like, he did the ultimate goal of, I came up with this really cool idea that people can easily adapt to, but, like, let me catch them flat-footed and just truck everybody. So West has already kind of drained that well. But Avarice, again, it can still be a good deck. So absolutely. And then just being a rogue wizard is very good. Zevel Adinarak. Really, really good stats. 10 skill, not much attack, but Bard and Assassin and a Charisma +6. So the Assassin trait is why it's there. The Bard trait does jack in this format. You have heartstrings. Like, that's really about it. There's nothing really worth being a Bard in here. And that's why Lorena Kennet's also here. Just that subclass didn't get a lot of the love it needed in Epic. But the Assassin trait makes Zevel really good. But then you have to see, like, why am I going to go Zevel when I can go Carebrae? But because the Assassin trait is that good, and I learned my lesson from Teferoth being bad, having the Necromancer trait, Zevel's in the middle of the road. But usually most of the time you still want to go Carebrae over Zevel. Lorena Kennet is a very cool Wee Warlord. And, just other L's have +3, and she can cast level 1 and 2. So you can do a Wizard Rush deck with Lorena, with elves, just pew-pews from, all these little weenies, but, like, you're actually striking with consequence. But again, the Bard trait, you're just not going to get much. She can do stuff like Evoke Crisis with another elf. Just discard. So let's actually pull up Evoke Crisis. This was a Josh King deck that I played at one Gen Con. Evoke. Just one of the side, the open tournaments. Just, again, they just needed somebody. They had 5 players. They did a 6-1. They're like, hey, Vac, you around? I'm like, I can be. So, like, someone give me a deck because I don't want to run back to my hotel room to get it. And I picked up a Lorena deck. And I don't regret it because Lorena was awesome. But Evoke Crisis. This is also a card that received an errata. Range strikes from this spell may target an adjacent rank. Discard any number of cards. You do a +2, and then you do +0s for each card discarded. So if you play Evoke Crisis and discard 2 cards, you're doing a +2, a +0, and a +0. So 3 strikes total. The erratum, it should read discard any number of cards up to this character's level. So that's the thing. Your level 1 elf starter can't just, all right, I just pitch my whole hand and just go shoo, 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 shoo. So they fixed that right quick. Let's see. I think the only thing I use Bard trait for Zevil is Fascinate. Yes. Let's actually pull up Fascinate because you're right. That is a very good one. Fascinate. Because mainly you can discard it with Zevil's ability and still be able to cast it from the discard pile because that's what that first ability does. Bards can play it from the discard pile. After an action that does not produce a melee strike targets this character, the acting character must succeed with a DC 8 plus a rogue skill or be stunned and the action's canceled. So punishing them for targeting you is awesome. Of course, if it's like a wizard throwing it, usually they have enough high skill, so the roll is going to be good. But if you have like a Tiebass in your discard pile or Zevil's like shrinking their skill, then that's pretty good too. So let's learn it. And then Kiara Sceneri, still around. Like we saw a little bit of that, what Kiara can do in the last stream I did for CE, where Iceman just ran a Kiara Sceneri deck, just could rush, absolutely steal character. And again, how I said with what I liked about Stolen Destiny, she has built-in Stolen Destiny that's not permanent though. So like, but she can steal one of those big beefy level 4 characters and then have them just attack the opposing Warlord. So she can get absolutely disgusting. Borderline could be good. So she's like right on the cusp there. So just for safety's sake, I just put it in the middle. Going to ugly. Andil Smirty. Very goofy Warlord. Just an absolute goofball. Opposing characters with -1 level for each wound they have. That's it. Has Scribe, but very straightforward. Just so he murders Brine Fiends. If you wound a Brine Fiend, they go to level 0 and they die and this kaput. If you're going to go Uber and then you happen to put wounds on them, they can't equip more items. Again, Glacis is saying like he loves Andil and he loves Alfie. Like I put it, they're in the bottom of the ugly. Like I'm not debating that they're not cool. I love these Warlords too. I had it on a Finnicus deck for sure. And the only thing I remember about Finnicus mostly though is the fact that somebody would always used to refer to, I think it was Bobby Zabrowski here in New Jersey, always just call him Ofi Nuchez. I don't know why he pronounced it that way, but it was always Ofi Nuchez. But Finnicus is a front rank fighter, a ranger too, with built-in medicine. So has a lot of cool stuff going, but just the front rank ability is just, But hey, if you need a elf ranger, that is your go-to. Can be good, just 14 AC for a front rank character, even with medicine, is just rough. Like you boost up that AC. 7 skills, not bad. So got something going there. But Annual Smirty is a goofball. Could have used a subclass if it had well, you're not gonna give it a seer, you already have a seer. Make him the Elven Cantor. That would have been cool. But just really wanted to fit the theme of the level drain. And then Korio's Bodak. Full disclosure, I probably could have put him in not bad. But then I was like, I don't really have room and I don't want to shrink these cards anymore. So I just threw him into bad. And that's the only reason I throw him into bad. He's fine. He does really cool stuff with just generating critical success. So you don't have like the fell blowness. But literally is rated as ugly just because I didn't want to make room on the slide. Because I had somebody in the not bad. So I was like, you know what? Corio should go to the bottom. But probably is not bad. I mean, elves in general. Like again, even these ugly elf warlords, you can do cool stuff with them. But have at it. I have to put somebody in the bad for elves. Elves are broken. Elves will always be broken. Let's see. Speaking of broken, let's look at their starters. Not really broken. It's not as broken as they have been in the past, but still overall solid and a lot of familiar faces. Jiggerol and Javin all been mentioned here. Jiggerol, just to be able to shoot, doesn't have Archer Tower like it had in Saga, but Javin is the planner option and can just create rank disruption by attaching to a character and prevents its own death. Big thing about Javin's ability is when it dies, it doesn't die, so you can't trigger like no prisoners off of Javin or something like that. Like your opposing character can't level off of it. This is really, really useful with a lot of the other characters that are running around. Kira Squibb, I just have here. Like, you might want to start one of. If after a player rolls a critical success or failure, you can remove a card from your discard pile and just put it into play spent. So it's just the undead recursion. So if you're going to pitch a card and just somebody rolls a 1 or a 20, just here we go. You will always forget that ability though, so that's why you don't ever hear about Kira Squibb more. But worth noting, just because I didn't want to have only 3. Tybest is also here, same thing. Tybest you usually don't want to start, but absolutely going to run that in Carebrae. You're absolutely going to run it in Kira Scenari. Anything where you're going to have a skill check. Warlord, you're going to have Tybest in there. But usually I would put it in the draw deck, usually not start it. But if you want to, you go ahead. My playstyle has always been never to go for a super fragile front rank. I always like secure, make sure I can survive the storm that is the Free Kingdoms, or be able to punch back. So level 2s, we got some more to kind of talk about. Elamir, right in the middle. Just mentioned that in case you run Etra or you want card draw. Before he dies, just draw a card. You can do some cool stuff with Cheat Death in her, so you get more card draws. Irolas is probably the starter. Just built-in +2 range strike, and then even while stunned, before it dies, it just does a +4 range strike. Super, super good. Irolas with Strain the Shot is just super tempo. Because Strain the Shot is a level 1 rogue action, which before you do a range strike, it does an extra wound. So his +2 will do an extra wound, and then he dies and then shoots. So Irolas plus String the Shot and some good rolls could just kill most Warlords. Idonal Rowan is the one to be note of. That's the Daybreak. And Oliver Eagle, thank you for following, bud. Appreciate it. Let's take a look at Idonal. Let's get him up here, just because, again, we get paragraphs worth of characters, and this happens just because of the Nightfall stuff. So Daybreak, spend order if it is the first turn, perform 2+0s that stun instead of wound. So has a control option with 2 strikes. So that's really good. The Nightfall ability turns him either roll an undead with some more AC, and then a react before he dies. Succeed with a skill check DC 16 to inflict a wound on a character within 1 rank. So does his little thing when he shoots, and then just is a threat, like someone you just don't want to kill because of that ability. So really cool. Skethis should be on this list. Chosen of the Bear says Skethis. Let's take a look at that. See what you got. Because I honestly don't even remember Skethis. So, that's why Skethis should be on the list. Because of stealth. I honestly forgot this card even existed. My man, Chosen of the Bear. Thank you. So yes, level 1 elf with stealth. So this is the same reason why Tyrius got play. +1, 11. So it's +1 level while in an opposing formation. You'll never use that ever. If you use it, then good on you. Nightfall, if it's not the first range, Skethis may enter play in the front rank of any army. So that's really cool. If you put it in the deck too, you can just kind of drop them in. But good call. Chosen the Bear. Appreciate that. I definitely missed this one. Absolutely. Just for the 10 or better stealth can cancel. So that should be there. I use it out of Andal. Yes. Reclasis, you are on the hook to run Andal. Just let you know. With all this talk about it. But good one there. See? I am human. I told you guys. Where do I want to go? Back to here. So we did the other 3 at the bottom for level 2s. Going to Canel. Inflicts an additional wound on range strikes against lower level characters. So Canel is a good start against Blind Fiends. Against Defiance. Against any of these any healing really. And especially if you're going to go Wizard Blitz. So like Lorena Canet will absolutely run Kennel, because then you can do fiery bolts too and not have to pass marksmanship. Built in +2 range strike. So Canel, also, if not Irolas, you can go Irolas Canel, because that way you shoot with Irolas first. And then if your ranks are getting broken, you can always stun up the Irolas and not lose any value whatsoever. Talon is the last one. Discard a card, perform a number of +0 range strikes equal to Talon's level. So usually that's just 2 +0s. Same thing I always said with O'Donnell. Only these ones wound instead of stun. But the ability to discard a card could be a cost and is probably designed to be a cost, but then there's cards like Tie Bass where you're discarding Tie Bass, you're also fueling some other condition of your deck to win. So there could be a lot of synergy there, or it could just be a good here's 2+0s. I'm going to roll 19-20, just kill 2 characters and absolutely demoralize the opponent. You probably win that game just when they get tilted. So Talon is really good. So that is Elves. How we doing? So hour and a half in, and I'm up to Freaks. So we got 3 more. We're going to try and speed this up a little bit more, guys. So Free Kingdoms. Here are the Warlords. I think last time for CE, I mentioned just the starters. Yeah, they still exist. So just like with CE, I'll start with the starters instead of the Warlords because, again, the Free Kingdom starting army just makes any single Free Kingdom character which is worth playing. So yes, Freaks still broken as all hell. Almost all of these cards are from Campaign Edition, so I won't explain too much. The Tri-Start over here, Brother Domini, Kylie Smythe, and Jal Forsyth, always an option. Brother Domini and Spencer, also an option. Just 2 strikes at +2, stupid insane. And yeah, ban faction. There we go. Brother Domini is absolutely broken. But even then, that's the offensive start. Lear Militia is also even better now. You can start 3 Lear Militia in like a Trevor Magson deck, for example. And then if it dies, you go and search out either a Brother Domini or Spencer if you want to go extra offense. Or Shaden Alder over here, who is banned in Ancients for very good reason. And we're going to pull that up. We're going to go to the videotape. So, enters play spent. Oh, okay. Well, why would you enter play spent? Well, Nightfall, if it is not the first turn, Shaden Alder enters play in rank 3 and has +3 attack, AC, skill, 2 HP, and 2 extra strikes at +0, which essentially become 2 extra +3 strikes because he's getting that attacking bonus. And you can spend order, return him to your hand. So, turn 1, he can't start and play. May not start and play, sorry. Oh, yeah, so that's the errata that they had on that. Rada back there was changed, cannot start and play. So yeah, you can't just start him. But with Lear Militia, you essentially start him because if they die, you search him out. You just wait until the coast is clear, put him into play spent in the front rank as a level 1, and then when it becomes turn 2, Nightfall kicks in, and he's a absolute beast of a character for turn 2 that's just going to truck you. And you can run 3 of this guy. So even if you draw him, you just pop, pop, pop. And then turn 2, I'm going to murder your face. Absolutely broken, absolutely banned for good reason. So he's there. Yescarite Sentry gives more, let's see. So it gives more of a, blah, 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 blah. What am I saying? Just lycanthrope stuff. That's really it. I'm bored of talking about the Freak starting army, guys. You all know this is good. We all know it's good. Jason Fret is good. The fact that Jason Fret gets mentioned last is still insane because that card is insane. Let's talk about level 2s. No, they're just as boring too. Farrell, Glenn, Joey Krieg, they're all here still. Auroch Knights are here to just spend order, put some of these low-level characters into play with a buff. So that's stupid. Rosalie, target a lower level Free Kingdom to give them an extra strike. So could be cool to start one of them, and then if you want to reflect, she's absolutely the one who can cast it. Give those little Free Kingdoms who have all those bonuses an extra strike and just go to town. And then Vermin Swarm is just cool because it's literally just a swarm of squirrels just attacking you. Their Daybreak is a order once per turn, take a shot, +2. And then their Nightfall, if not, they can order move forward or backward 1 rank. So they're a level 2 that starts off shooting. And then if not, you draw them later, you can just order them forward and then take a swing. So they're essentially turned into a Thunic Wyvern. But it's just look at the art. Like, it's just a bunch of squirrels suicide bombing off of a tree. What's not to love about Vermin Swarm? So Vermin Swarm makes me smile. The rest of these freaks make me want to vomit. But yeah, they're still good. Oh, that is the wrong slide. Look at me go. So these little freaks. Let's go back to them. Chosen the Bear. A level 5 rogue and ugly. I know what Kakura is playing in EE. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure he can find something to do with Ferris Bachman. There's better rogues I have. Don't worry, they're coming up. But let's start with first. Let's start with the ugly. I want to, because we're gonna flip the script on the Free Kingdoms and not talk about how good they are. Let's talk about what might possibly be some holes. So Ferris Bachman is a really cool warlord that you can just play multiple copies of him and put him into play. He's a bard, but again, as I said, the bard trait doesn't have a lot going for it. That's the reason why I have him in ban. He's totally fine because he's a freak. So yeah, even the freak ugly is better than most factions good. But Ferris Bachman is just a really weird one. He can redirect strikes. Let's actually pull it up and read it for everybody, just so I actually give you guys some useful knowledge. You may have other copies of this warlord in your deck. Ferris Bachman enters play is rank 3 with the warlord trait. Once per game, target character must target this character with melee or range strikes whenever possible. So he's just allowed him to plays his little instrument there and just says, hey, you swing at me and don't swing at my freak army. Very Free Kingdom theme, so I love that design. And the fact you can play 3 of them is really cool. Just 3 level 5 rogues. So yeah, again, I can't put something not in ugly, guys. Like I would with freaks. I just put them all up at the very top, but I can't do that. Just, it feels wrong to do it, so I don't. But Ardent Tide, yeah, there you go. Ardent Tide's hot garbage. He's their only wizard option, but he's still hot garbage. After target character, let's just go bigger. Maybe I should have made these slides bigger. What do you guys think? Maybe more slides next time, just so we don't have to keep zooming in on these cards. After the target character rolls a magic save that failed by 10 or more, or was a critical failure, inflict a wound on the target. So yeah, sure. This is an awesome core set warlord that comes with a bunch of spells that make you do DC saves and then just extra wounds. Could be really cool, but the best DC save is Medusan Lord's Gambit, which he can't react to. You can do stun tech with him and then inflict a wound after they fail by 10 or more and everything like that. But it's just not exciting. He's a Free Kingdom, so he can be number 1 seed. This is how it goes. Carol Wadrath, love her. Ranger can, do Ranger things, but there's other Rangers that do better Ranger things like Jin Valford, who's still here. So going to not bad. Jin Valford, still mid-tier. We all saw, if you watch my stream, Lionheart absolutely trucked me with a lycanthrope cavalry version with Jin Valford and turned into Kyle Dragon as well, too. But he can go cavalry. You can go 6-man blitz with Warren Brood with Jin Valford. Really cool warlord, and with a lot of options there. Sir Lucian, somewhere in Kentucky. Chase Causey is very happy that he can play the child. Sir Lucian is the warlord that can start anywhere. Just at the beginning of the game, just swap. I'm in the front rank, and now I'm leveling up and doing strikes. So really cool design for warlord. Can be really strong, but still also very vulnerable. So games can go super quick there with Sir Lucian. Volda, rogue. Not rogue. Wow. Ranger Druid. So it's a fighter cleric. Before she dies, nope, I go to another warlord. Iceman, we saw Seth Woodrowbringer. So Woodrow make an article for CE with Volda, mostly because I put her in ugly, and that's what they wanted to do. It's like, hey, he's not ugly. Well, yes, I know, it's a Free Kingdom. So there you go. I put Volda in not bad now. So there you go. Volda's really good. Just as a fighter cleric, like the Free Kingdom's army can play Blind the Gods. That alone makes it worth it. Samuel, I probably should have up in there and good instead of not bad, because Samuel is absolutely gross. But compared to the other ones, like Beastmaster Aldrich, again, that was the same thing. It's like you can go, what's the cleric lane you're going for? I think Beastmaster Eldrick is usually good. See, Trevane over Samuel. Laugh. Okay, I see how it is. Yeah, Samuel should probably be up in the good, but just because his order twice per turn to make a Free Kingdom unkillable with attack and AC. But you can do that. And, the canter ability to go lift up your voice is good, but you also have that with Lady of Mercy as well. So that's why I just put Samuel in the back. I like Arden, but I'm not going to defend him being an ugly. There we go. All right, so other good warlords. Trevane Cartwright. We saw Trevane in CE. Very, very good. He's still just as good. I don't miss strikes. Him with Life Drainer, still very good. Trevor Maxon, probably the best Free Kingdom deck, I think. Just can kill you from anywhere. It is this version's Dukat or whatever sniper you want to kind of call. Has built-in marksmanship, has the ability to boost the range strikes ability, has the supporting cast of range strikers like Peyton Latham and Gerard the Huntsman to fuel that, and can just steal a game with his marksmanship order, strain the shot, dead. EM the Unsullied, front rank paladin, just a lot of strikes. And with freaks and like Brother Dominic, gonna get super big and super killy, but very straightforward warlord. Just draw movement and win. Lady of Mercy saw that make the cut in CE, and it'll be for the same reasons it'll probably make the cut here in Epic. Just her ability to critical on a 17 plus and have the canter traits to support, can play Blind the Gods, lift up your voices. She's really good. She's not level 5 though. That was the misprint in the first set that we saw. Was just like, oh my god. And then Beastmaster Eldrick. That is a newcomer to the Free Kingdom stuff. Let's go to Beastmaster. Beastmaster Eldrick is coming up here. So it's the Druid Warlord of choice for the freaks. Your lycanthropes have +2/+2/+2 and react once per turn after one of your lycanthropes suffer a wound from target opposing character, DC 18 or stun. So can absolutely control and lock down, and you get the Druid trait for a lot of fun. So whole lot going on there. Really cool art too. But yeah, Eldrick and Samuel, they're kind of like next to each other really here. You can interchange them all you want. Free Kingdom's clerics are really good. My cup of tea is specifically Lady of Mercy as a cleric warlord, but if you need to go 5, then Samuel or Beastmaster are the way to go. And those are the gross, disgusting Free Kingdoms. We can move on, and hopefully nobody ever plays them ever again. Oh wait, never mind. We're going to another disgusting faction. Let's start with Tavish Jape, just because, you know, we got the grossness from the Free Kingdoms out of our, like, you know, out and done. Tavis is still good. Tavis is probably better in Epic than he was in CE. Again, for reasons I mentioned. Can play Twist in the Omens with Cal Blackborn and just pop. There we go. Everybody's stronger. So you've all heard of Tavis already, so we won't spend too much time. Let's look at the 3 new faces that we have up here. Alisara. Anyone who's followed Ancients knows that Alisara is just a consistency summoner to drop Supremus and do stupid things. So order once per turn, just turn a character that's in your hand into a character of equal or lower level, and you may put them into play. So she is the summoner. What's the fancy word I'm looking for? Yeah, she's the summoner. That's exactly what she is. Dragon drop decks, Overlord drop decks. She's going to drop Orm, like I mentioned early on. So that puts her in good. Dorath Sadul. Very cool Warlord. Cleric Wizard. Same reason how I told you Thoroughly Calyx is good. Dorath has it as well. Really awesome ability. Once per turn, targets a non-Warlord character and returns it to the owner's hand. Let me actually just pull him up. Let's get a zoom in on the little guy. Come here, you little guy. Dorath Sadul. The ability may not target opposing characters with items equipped. That's the little caveat to it. The only thing that's really bad is, as you can see in the art, he's got abs, but he's really thin and squishy. He's got a +2 attack and 12 AC. So never want to go anywhere near the front rank at all, as far back as you can. But it is a cleric, so it has its own built-in healing. Dorath is still very good. You can do a blitz version and use his ability to recur some of your own characters to get extra strikes. Or you could use it as a way to just disrupt the opposing army. So a lot of versatility there and 2 great classes. The Illusionist skill trait, like, you know, you got stuff like, I think it was Phantasmal Killer. I think that's a level 4 spell. I think that was his Phantasmal Killer. Yeah, come on. There you go. Yeah, so Dorath can do that. Just point click DC. You know, he makes a DC check to inflict a wound, and then the character has to make a check to suffer a wound. So it's a 2 wound spend order, most likely. So this could be something that Dorath starts packing. And then the Nemesis, Necromancer. Everybody loves the Nemesis. Cool art, and let's actually get him up. Tappa, tappa, tappa. I would have killed for tappa, tappa, tappa. Nemesis. Once per turn, kill an opposing non-warlord character with 4 or more levels lower than the Nemesis. So this is who I was thinking of when I was talking about Baron Bastien. Once per turn, kill one of your characters, remove all wounds from the Nemesis. So the Nemesis could go Uber, I guess, if you want. But does Necromancer things. And is a Warlord. And just can point click delete a level 1 Warlord. Level 1 character. If you boost up his level, you can start eating characters of actual meaningfulness. A lot of cool things you can do with this one. And this is cool. This is a good Warlord. Not an oppressive Warlord. I won't say it's oppressive. Like, the reward for leveling up and like killing that is just something to see. But otherwise, you know, the Necromancer trait just being there makes him just infinitely better. So let's go to the not bad. Brand Segula is the dragon. Just, you have an option. Has a charge, and you have 2 HP range reward. So it gives you the ability to, again, these Daybreak freaking abilities, like, you have to be able to read the cards. So I will pull it back up again. Daybreak and Nightfall. Ranger. 1 charge. Once per turn, remove a charge. If it is the first turn, move forward 1 rank, gain 2 attack AC and HP permanently. So if you want to go front rank stat beat stick, you have that ability to decide on turn 1 just based off of how things are going. If not, you go the route which I think you kind of want to go for this, and that's the Dragon Drop ability. Once per game, remove a charge. If it's not the first turn, search your deck for a dragon of level 6 or lower. Put it into play adjacent to Bran. That is just a super cool ability. So much, like, you can do fun things with the sign and just boom, here's a level 6 dragon and just ready to go. And it comes in adjacent to Bran. So what level 6 dragons can we do with Bran? This is why we have advanced filters. So this is actually pretty, I guess I could use this, you know, just how to use the filters. Always search for epic. Then let's go traits dragon. And level is equal to, or let's go equal to or lower. So 6. Because Bran, I believe it's not, or is it Bran level 6 exactly? I don't remember. Usually, let's see. You can drop Golden Peak because it is level 6. Night Scale, level 5. That's a good one. Shadow Blaze. There's some tricks you can do here. With that order once per turn, perform a spend order printed on an adjacent character. That mirror magic ability is just something that gets really stupid. Siren spawn and just being able to just shoot lightning at the opposing ranks is really good. No Blackwind. I forgot Blackwind is not here. So yeah, Siren spawn being the hotness, I think that is the case. So back to Bran. Yeah, level 6 or lower. So you can go either options. I was right on that one. But yeah, you can put Golden Peak into play. That's really cool. So like, again, like, this is just one of those again, it can be a really good Warlord. The fact that you're a 2 HP fighter makes you very vulnerable, especially in this format where, like, Trevor Magson exists and you can just snipe out your face. But just being able to say, I'm tutoring for a dragon, putting him in and coming after you. Usually something you would see in a Dragon Lord challenge. Now you can do it as a player. That's why this guy is just so cool. Absolutely. And it's once per game. So that way, if you add in charges to this guy, you can't just keep doing silly things, which I get. And that's why. Speaking of silly things, Jotia Sign. This is the Choose Your Own Adventure Warlord. Banned in Ancients to avoid any kind of infinite combos or any kind of weird things. You can do a Joltia sign like themed tournament. I think they actually have, where it's just, maybe I'm just misremembering, but like just choose a character who's not a warlord and make them a warlord. So that's, I'm just mentioning him as not bad because really, like, he's really a question mark. And he's a deck builder's dream. Like, you can just do cool things. The two obvious choices with him are probably Alistair for Deverinians. So that way you can just go MLG bomb with all the skill boosts and just splat. But you can also just do that out of Adonis. So it's nothing really that. The cool thing you can do with Jolty Sign is probably Peyton Latham. The guy whose range strike goes an extra rank and who's coming up on the screen now. So he's an option. Again, Jolty Sign, you choose a level 4 or lower character and make them your warlord. So has a bonus to his attack equal to his power attack and a bonus to his range strikes equals to his marksmanship. So his order is a +2 that may go an additional rank away. So if you give him more marksmanship, it gets to be a higher bonus to strike and it's going extra rank. Just having the ability to just go shoot the extra rank as an order is really good. And he's got the scout trait. So you can easily build a very good deck with Peyton Latham. But let's get Jotty up there. Jot. So again, the way it's worded, this may seem weird just because you have to start with him as your warlord and then you can pick. So what you could do with him is make it a toolbox deck where you have multiple choices. That's usually a little harder because usually just the deck building strategy of Warlord is to have the ability to build around that person and make sure the cards you're drawing just support whatever that Warlord is doing or support whatever you're actually building towards. So like the ability to kind of pivot is usually something that's not great and something usually avoided. But you could build a toolbox version if you can figure it out, but it's really hard to. But it gives that person +1 HP too. And then if you draw him, it's just a Ready My Warlord card and then shuffle it back in. But yeah, he is super cool. Super, super cool. Do you need to switch or can you just play him as your warlord? I believe you need to switch. Yeah, it's not optional. Let's go back to that. Zoom back in. After starting, armies are revealed. Put a lower level non-multiclass character from your deck into play. So it's not an option. I guess you can just run no characters. So, or can you just play him as the warlord? Yeah, no, you can't just play him. You can switch between games. Yeah. So, I don't know if that's necessary. Do you need to? Do you just need to switch? Okay, yeah. So there's a little confusion in the chat just on what the actual question is. I think I think Witherstench. I think you're trying to say like, can you run just this guy as your warlord? Well, if you have no characters, I guess he doesn't switch out. We have to check that ruling, though. That's very weird. See, I like those kind of questions because you're trying to, these are the questions that a good deck builder or like someone who come up with an original idea or ask themselves and think about. And then that way you can kind of figure out what kind of really cool thing to do. Because just look at his stats. He's 4 HP. He's got 3 strikes. He's not astral, but now he's planner. So he could be a beatstick, but no class. That's what hurts. He's got no class. He's rude. Might be from New Jersey. That is unconfirmed. Going to other stuff. Kale King Rowan. Oh, I guess I'm just going right back to that slide and pulling up Kale King Rowan. Why the hell would you put this garbage warlord as not bad? This is me just being biased. I love this warlord. As a scout, is a support rogue essentially. Once per turn before fixing your second rank when it is illegal. So if you have less characters, if you have like 2 characters in your front rank and 3 in your second rank, you're illegal. That's what your second rank is illegal. Remove a character in your discard pile from the game. Put an opposing level 1 or 2 character in a discard pile to play ready in your front rank under your control. So you steal your opponent's characters. So it's a necromancer ability on a warlord scout. I built an absolute control deck with him back in the day. It used diversion and stuff, but it used like Essie of Ravenwild and like all this other stuff. I used the card Subvert to control what the opponent was drawing. It was absolutely miserable. I wouldn't say it was good, but it was just, I had fun playing it, and I had a few opponents get like really mad at me and be like, why would you build this stupid deck? This is like the old Warlord rule. If it beats me, then it must be broken and needs to be banned. And like, how could you ever do this? Because the world only revolves around me. We all know somebody like that in Warlord, but not to shit talk at anybody, but like, okay, fine. The deck's not fun. I won't play it, but I had fun playing it. Subvert is something that scouts can do. Just look at the top 5, discard one of those, and then remove one from the game and put the rest on top of the deck. So the ability to dictate the next, at least influence the next 5 cards that you're going to draw, your opponent's going to draw. That in itself, because again, you draw a bad hand sometimes on turns, that costs you a game. So while it might not seem like this is a high impact card, you can really just like, if they're an MLG deck, you're subverting for MLG and just removing it from the game. Like, you're taking away their win condition. So there's a lot you can do here. So Kale King Rowan is somebody who can do that. And otherwise just has a cool ability of just having your army join mine. So I put him as not bad. You could probably slot him into ugly. But I put him there. Black Tom, the assassin extraordinaire, the guild master himself, still running around. I have him as not bad. He probably can go ugly as well. But then we know that Marco will be playing Black Tom if I put him in ugly. So I put a different rogue in there for ugly. So ugly is Z8th. Z8th is what like a balanced Darmy is trying to look at. Like, level 1 characters don't have loyalty penalty. But that's really her shtick. Rogue's support for those level 1s isn't really that great, but she has some cool stuff she can do. She can play Shaden Alder and then make that thing disgusting, ridiculous. I had a ZF deck back in the day. It was fun to play for sure and enjoyable. It just wasn't strong. Like, the spend order to do a +5 range strike when she has no subclass, it's just kind of weak. So that's why I have her in ugly. But you can build a fine version of her. Really, 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 really beautiful art like that. Like the Centaur lady. She's gonna come, or Demon lady. I don't even know what she actually is story wise, but really cool, but not good. Prove me wrong. So let's go to 2 abyssals. Both of these abyssals suck. Corteth Firefist is another one of the overlords, similar to the paladin guy, Edric, whatever we said. Was in the Overlord kit. Has a pretty cool ability where he can just attach a lower level fighter action and then just do that once per turn. And then can play a wizard spell once per turn. Just they have that. He just has that floating ability. Can cast a spell as a wizard once per turn. So it comes down to finding that nice little split of fighter and wizard in your deck. Because you can go like a front rank fighter with this guy, but then he's super squishy at a 7 AC that's astral and only 3 HP and 6 skill. Like, his stats aren't really that great. But when it comes to his order of what you're going to attach, that's really where the disappointment with him comes in. There's not a lot of great choices. The 2 that you can kind of do are Primal Rage, which we will pull up, because that makes him very, very scary. Still squishy, but still demands respect. Suffer 1 wound until the end of the turn. This character is +5 attack, an additional melee strike +1. And when he attacks, if he's a barbarian, monster, or lycanthrope, he is a monster, his melee strikes inflict an additional wound. Can go final power and final rage. Yes. Final power is to get extra strikes. It would be 2 +5s as long as you have it. It's either a +5 or 2 +5s if you have the final rage in. And then final rage just gives you a boost to your strike and makes an additional wound if you do it. I wish it kind of gave you an extra strike instead, just to kind of fit with the theme, and that'd be a little bit better. But Primal Rage is something you can attach to him, and then he's just doing this once per turn. He's wounding himself, so you need to kind of put in some... On top of the fighter and wizard actions you have to put in some kind of healing, which could be cleric stuff. So you could just kind of do a rainbow deck and go with that. Or the other option, because again, it has to be lower level. So unless you're going to boost his level up and then attach some really, really... Get him to level 10 and attach Secret of the Sun. There we go. That's a good option you could do. The other option is Well-Laid Trap, which turns him into the support Cavalry Warlord, and then you can have him basically playing 1 wizard spell per turn. while he's doing this ability to move his guys forward and keep your opponent disrupted. Target a lower level character may not perform actions to move until the end of turn. Move a character in your army forward 1 rank. If this character is a ranger, he may perform an additional order after this. He is not a ranger. But the thing about Well-Laid Trap and Quartet Firefist, the spell you attach with him, you are +1 level for playing that. So as a level 5 Warlord, attaching this and being +1 level, you can basically say your Warlord doesn't move forward. Of course, that means like you're doing that against front rank character, but like someone against like Trespass, like you attach Well-Laid Trap and then you keep Trespass back there and out of your army. You can absolutely just kill that deck with that. So those are really the 2 options for Quartet Firefist to attach. So that's really it, though. There's not really much else to kind of go for. Terrorist off the wizard option of it. Again, like I don't know. I don't know if you really go Quartet unless you know. I don't know if you go Terrorist off. The Quartet exists, but if you need a level 4 wizard spell, for example, to be attached, then you can go Terrorist off. But Terrorist off is an OG, but he's just missing a lot here. I do like the original angle art on Terrorist off though, so if you are going to play that version. Karash Dathar is a monster. Is a Sutek. Well, actually, he doesn't even have the Sutek trait. He's just a monster. Boo. He's clearly a Sutek. Lizard folk. But does abilities with dungeons. Let's pull him up. He's got a paragraph too. Karash. Wait, did I spell his? I didn't spell his name right. So his name. Jeez. How many? Why is he not coming up? Oh, because Kavrosh, that's why. Duh. I'm saying his name wrong. I don't put respect on his name because he's okay. Spend order. Search your deck for a dungeon and put it into play if possible. Otherwise, put it into your hand. So that's a really cool spend order. But Nightfall, it's not the first turn. Your monsters have bonus to attack equal to half the printed CR on the dungeon, rounded down. So going back to our original slide, where the challenge rating on like some of these, like the Blackthorn's Quarters was like 10. So basically his Nightfall ability gives monsters +5 attack while the dungeon's in play. So, and he can fish out which dungeon. So you can put the Spire, the one that gives like the rush version that I was saying. You can search that out, put that in there. So all those level 4s are getting penalties to their level while your little monsters are swinging like a truck. Trolls Warren out of him is pretty cool. So let's look at Trolls Warren. Not Tanner Trolls, I'm Trolls Warren. Challenge rating 8, you must spend a seer to put Trolls Warren into play. Kevrosh wasn't a seer, was he? Monsters have +2/+2/+2. Malrog's Lair, like a mini Mass Bless. Yep, that's right. After is defeated, that player draws 2 cards. So again, the thing with this is like 8. 8 is pretty high. So Trolls Warren could be good. Your opponents could also just pass this and just spend 8 level characters. So you're technically spending 2 level 4s, which is very impactful. But then you're also giving them 2 cards. So while you think that bottom part is actually a benefit, it's actually a deterrent for sure and makes Trolls Warren very risky. But if you are going to go, Monster Rush, I think you're fine with risky. But then this becomes mostly a win more card. But the fact that you can search it out makes it worth it. So going back to Kevrosh, just really quick. Yeah, he's not a seer, but Argus Gawk can be the seer that you start. Yeah, he's also a monster as well. So there you go. And then lastly, Ablong the Maker. Has every class. I'm a siege, and I choose my own adventure with my order to give it. There's just, again, not focused to this Warlord. To build a good Ablong deck, like, there's just too much. He has almost too much going on, so you can never really effectively do it. And he needs a lot of time to kind of build up to be that. But once you kind of hit that peak, then he just, skyrockets in. But who knows if he can win fast enough. Ablong, another trap. Yes, es una trampa. Let's go to the final faction. We are 2 hours and 5 minutes in. So hopefully I can wrap this up in 25 minutes for you guys. Oh, no, actually, never mind. We're not going to the last one. We still got starters to talk about. Oh, yeah, and there's an important one to talk about, too. So while Brine Fiend is still around and is still always an option, and if you don't want to think about it, just put Brine Fiend in, and he's a good starter either way. There's a lot of other cool ones you can do. Regret Shadow is one everybody knows. It has stealth. Then Amadasi's Fire. They brought the Amadasi's Fire into Epic Edition, but they left the Amadasi's Wrath behind, which seems very mean. But Fire is also just an option to, if you want to DC check it. It's very good against Spencer Lathams if anyone's going to be running that. So very good to consider. Barnass is another option because he can go Spend Order. He has the built-in ability to level up. So if you want to start a Barnaz, win initiative, swing, kill somebody, and then you level up, when you level up, you get a level, an HP, and stealth +3. So he has innate defense. He has a 2 HP better Brine Fiend. And then his Spend Order is target lower level character has -1 level permanently. So he can just start, after he levels up once, next turn, he can just start picking off level 1s, which is really cool. But notice how Lilla is all the way at the top here, almost in its own tier, in its own world. This card is absolutely disgusting. And she deserves to be spotlighted. So we're going to give her the spotlight. And we are going to get her up here. Spend Order, once per turn, return a higher level non-Warlord mercenary in your army to its opponent's hands. Perform a +5 range strike. So you drop her from hand. You've already, let's say you have like even a Karajuin, the old Saga card, where it's a Spend Order, do a +4 for a level 2. So you shoot a Karajuin, get a +4 shot, do a wound. Then you play Lilla. Then you Spend Order Lilla, do a +5, shoot somebody in the opposing rank, return your Karajuin that you've already used, replay the Karajuin, get another shot. So there's a infinite combo potential here with her. Whether or not that exists in Epic Edition, I leave to you all to find. But the reason she is banned in Ancients is to avoid infinite combos. So I will leave it at that. But absolutely worth consideration for just about every deck. Then you have the Amadasi. So Amadasi's Fire came in. Amadasi's Wrath didn't come in. But then you get like some other fiery friends from Amadasi. You have the Candle, the Blaze, and the Inferno. So this is also an option you can do at a Tavish Shape. You can start all the candles, and what they do is after a melee strike that missed them, you kill it, you search for the Blaze. The Blaze comes in the play spent. It has 2 strikes, 5/3, and 1 HP. When the Blaze attacks, it turns into the Inferno, which is just a big, huge, massive creature. So this Amadasi's package, it had a lot of consistency in the terms of being able to fish out and thin your deck and get these characters out into play. And then you have, if all goes well, you have a level 4 wizard in the starting front rank by turn 2, sometimes turn 1 if all goes according to plan. So it can get really disgusting and very good at a Tavish Jape. So I have that whole set kind of shown as level 1s. For level 2s, I already mentioned Cal Blackborn in the beginning, so rewind back if you want to learn about that. Tyron Ruskin, everyone knows and loves him. Argus Gawk is the range striker of choice now. Spend Order, choose an opponent. They have to reveal a card from their hand, and then you get a range strike equal to that card's level. So getting the information alone is worth the price of admission, and you're getting a strike. You don't really care about how big it is, but also level 2 cleric, 4 skill, can play Reflect, has its own strike, is a seer, as we mentioned, so you can play Trolls Warren. It's really cool. Jinkini is here as a Brine Fiend healer. Can swing at its own characters with melee strikes, and if it hits, you can remove wounds from them. So Jinkini is just being noted. Worth it. If probably not going to be the choice number 1 or even choice number 2, but just leave it there for now. Could be an option. Morn Jackals is the alternate starting character, like to replace, what your starters look like. I think this is the only one I actually noted. Like you have the option to start Bayana or whatever it is, the Reaver and the Nothrogs. I didn't note that, but Stolen Destiny gave you the ability to redefine how you have starters. So I need to kind of just note that here, and I'll note that with Morn Jackals. So normally you just go 3 level 1s, 2 level 2s. These let you play higher characters at a cost of using some of those slots. So there is, again, that's a deck builder's dream in terms of trying to figure out what you can do. So in Morn Jackals, may not equip items. So basically, they are Jackals of Morn that start in play in rank 4 in the slot of rank 2 and can just order forward or backwards. But it's an epic card and an epic hero. But otherwise, it is just Jackals of Morn. So you can start that, but the real important thing to note there is starting a character in the 4th rank, you now have options to just drop a level 5, which could be Titan. I think he's floating around in here, or just any other level 5 mercenary character, especially Alisara. That's how you can get these big character drop decks. Morn Jackal will fuel that. You're just going to make sure whoever you have in rank 2 is very stable. Like it could be Tyne Ruskin, who has 2 HP. Or you can just go, balls to the wall. I don't care what happens, and just put a Cal Blackboard there too and say, go ahead, hit it. I dare you. But that is always an option to start with a Jackals of Morn in play. So now we come to the Nothrogs. And we see some heavy hitters in the good section. Some of the best Warlords ever printed, or I'd say Desi and Fatraka. So starting with Desiccra, really embrace, like it was mentioned in CE. I'd say Epic is really where she shined even more. The Sniper Rogue is so much stronger in Epic Edition, how I mentioned with Trevor Max and just with the toys. But Desi is like, after a character enters play, she either moves or she takes a shot. So that tempo, that flexibility, she had a lot going on. Great stats, a lot of support. The Nothrogs have good armies now. So Desi easily top 5 Warlord. And then Fatraka probably top 3. Let's put Big Fatraka, Big Fuddrucker on the screen. And it's hard to pull up in the filter because of the apostrophe. You have to make sure you spell every little bit of that name. So just being an Nothrog cleric has traditionally been good. But the abilities here is just even grosser. Your Nothrog's melee strikes may target an additional rank away while they have 1 or more wounds on them. And you'll see when we get to the starters, this is the set that Gunda came into play. So Gunda gives itself +1 HP after it's been hit and gives it +1 level. And 5 attack. So Gunda and Vatraka alone is, all right, if you hit any of my Nothrogs, I can swing +8 at your 2nd rank and just start causing a nightmare for you. So Fatraka, I'll go and pick. I'll say a Fatraka deck wins this event. I'll go. That is my pick for best Warlord, just because of the explosiveness. We'll see. Like Tavis could be good. Free Kingdoms are still good, but I'm gonna go with my dark horse pick is Fatraka will win this event. Just to give you guys a hot take. React once per turn after target Nothrog suffers wounds. The target has +1 HP. So built-in Final Blessing. And can also just play Final Blessing itself. So all these big Nothrogs who hit hard, hit high, hit for multi-wounds, they now have the ability to extend even further. At the cost, of course, being wounded. But like, Fatraka with seized life is absolutely insane. Because go ahead, put wounds on them. They don't die, and now I'm swinging extra ranks. I don't even need my react. So a lot here. It's defense-packed. Defense that fuels offense. And that is a very explosive recipe. Speaking of which, we got Brickta, who was mentioned in Campaign Edition. I think gets a little bit better here in Epic as well. Just the more wounds on her, the more strikes and attacks she gets. She can keep power attacking. So kind of like the Winter Chainsaw deck that existed, there's a Brickta Chainsaw deck that you can build, and it's still good. Then also, no Krun, no Uthanac. So the first time we're not seeing like those people. So who kind of has to fit the void? Sargok does a really good job of that. The barbarian Nothrog warlord, and his ability of giving your Nothrogs +3 attack for each wound on the opposing army is just, it fits the Nothrog master strategist theme, which is so cool. But he also hits like a ton of bricks, because if any of your Nothrogs have an attack of +8 or more on their strike, it does an additional wound. So you're really going to play Seize Life against Sargok. So while Petrarca will play Seize Life and get those extra wounds on their characters, you don't know if you want to play Seize Life against Sargok, because then all the extra wounds are sitting there, and then these level 1 Nothrogs are swinging at +15 for 2 wounds or even more, and that's without having to spend or do anything. So he's still a barbarian warlord that can just run to the front. Primal Rage, no prisoners, go, 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 have fun. So you can do Weenie Rush with him. You can do cavalry build with him, and just have a bunch of other Nothrog fighters that are really good just going to the front to just show them who's boss. And against any slow healing deck, he usually just overcome. So Sargok is absolutely worth noting for flexibility and just, I had a Dragon Ranch Sargok. You were my hero, Jedi Master Zan. That is awesome. Let's go to the mid tier, which there's a lot of mid tier here. And all of these Nothrogs are still really good. Darist is the wizard, is the top ranked wizard I have here. But, Tauth and Savone are also here, also still good. But Darist has the Daybreak ability. Let's see. Let's actually just pull it up. Again, anytime I see Daybreak, I'm pulling it up. That way, why are you not coming up? Darist, there you are. Boom. If it is the first turn, his range strikes may target additional rank away. Ultimate Blitz, just I'm going to move forward and just start lobbing things at you. But there's also cards, like there is a dungeon that just says, it is the first turn. So he can really get leverage out of that and just make sure that his Daybreak stays on even past turn 1. But the spend order is really cool to remove the top 6 cards from your deck, and it is considered the first turn. So he has that built-in ability to also do that. You have to spend him, so it's a huge cost. But the ability to go an extra rank with your spells, like just a stray fiery bolt all of a sudden hitting for 2 wounds, is very explosive. Fiery bolt's explosive. Look at that. So there's a lot you can do with him. He's really cool. And removing the top 6 cards of your deck it's removed. So you don't even discard. There's no way to kind of synergize around it. It's just you have to sacrifice. He's a Blitz Warlord. You are sacrificing longevity to hit like a truck. And it's really cool. So I mentioned Tauth. Tauth is also just Wizard Shaman. But all your strikes have higher bonus and all your DCs have it. So if you want to go like, I say Tauth is more just the generally good mid-range, like middle of the road, I do everything pretty well. Or then Tauth is the wizard you want to go for Nothrogs. If you want to do something with a little spice, Darris is the option. And then if you want to do something cavalry, Savone is the option. And is the siege warlord of choice here. Other characters we have here, Gothak, kind of like Desi, but not Desi. Still a scout, and that's her problem. She's a Nothrog scout in the same thing with Desi, and there's not enough design here to make you want to play Gothak over Desi. You could, and you won't be bad, but less skill, same amount of AC. The spend order to do a +5 as opposed to Desi, who doesn't have to spend to do a +4. And the ability to spend based on the so that's really it. Just if you need to spend somebody, but it's just not enough. Very hard. You can do well with her, so that's why she's not bad, but you don't have the incentive to play her over Desi. Grand Tuck Rageblade, the Nothrog Rastafarian, can do really cool things. Just, if you're going to play a whole bunch of weapons in your army, and then spend him and have Grand Tuck just do 900 strikes. It's a slow build. He has 6 skills, so he's vulnerable, but 4 HP. Is a ranger and can equip 2 weapons. So he's a really cool one. We've seen him on the stream before. That Wes ran him out of our little funsy match that we played. But Grand Tuck can do some cool things. I just don't know if he has him with Well-A Trap. He's on the art for Well-A Trap, so he gets the ranger bonus there. That's super cool. But that's just something of note. So he's middle tier. And Rothadak, fighter rogue, would have been in the good if the rings were not banned. So that was something I haven't mentioned yet either. The epic books and the epic rings are all banned. Those are the epic books, they just do disgusting things. The rings, there was one for each class that can start and play. They were part of the Stolen Destiny set. So Rothadak, being a rogue and a fighter, could start the fighter one and could start the rogue one. So already starting with 2 cards in play, and making her a front rank warlord is good. Like, she does extra wounds against spent characters. And then the reason, like, how I love subvert, that's what her built-in ability is. Just let me look at the top 5 of any deck, just take a card out, get rid of it, and then put it in rest. So just removing all the answers that would answer the pressure that she's putting on is a really well designed, it's a really cool design, and just really does work out. You just got to watch out, because she can be squishy. And then in Ugly, Donner of Clan Hell just doesn't know what the hell it wants to do. Wants to do melee strikes, wants to do range strikes. Well, if that's the case, you can just go Desi. It's better. But, I want it to be a fighter. All right, look. If you just want to be a Frost Giant and just say you played a Frost Giant, yeah, that's the Warlord for you. But otherwise, really bad stats, mediocre abilities. It's just, there's nothing, not really there. And then I put 2 rogues in Ugly. So go ahead. I will tempt Marco. Scrim and Tactician Mudfleck. So Scrim is an assassin, which means that has access to some of the better cards and can be really cool. What I put him in here for Ugly for is just the Nightfall ability. So let's pull it up. Because again, what did we say? Daybreak Nightfall? Nope, sorry, a paragraph. We need to get that up here. Scrim. Spindle Sleen. Scrim does nothing first turn, though. And that is why he is an Ugly. So, Nightfall. Once per turn, if it is not the first turn, reveal the top 10 cards of your deck. Each of your Nothrogs may equip 1 revealed weapon that they may legally equip, and then discard all remaining revealed cards. That discard all remaining is really harsh. And you have to get very creative for how you're going to build this. Because, so that's the thing. You're an Assassin Warlord with an ability that searches for items that you can equip to not just you, but other people. You can get 1, and then anything else goes away. They go to the discard, so Monsieur Diplomacy, absolutely you can slot in here, and it's really good with Scrim. But it's a Wii, and it's a rogue item that goes well supplied. A lot going on here, and it is different, but I just don't think it's good enough. You can probably go 3-3 with this, but we'll see. And then let's look at Tactician Mudfleck. Tactician Mudfleck. So it's a scout. The issue there is that Desi's also a scout. Same thing. There needs to be a reason that you want to play Tactician Mudfleck over Desi. And if it's just to say you played Mudfleck as a Warlord, I get that. That's cool. Mudfleck's awesome. But he just has the ability, after one of your Nothrogs is hit with a melee strike, kill that Nothrog. The character performing the strike must succeed with a magic save DC 13 or suffer a wound. I wish that the DC was a little higher on this ability just to be good, because it's also melee strikes. So because range strikes are so good in this format, Tactician Mudfleck suffers. So he just needs a little bit more and could have been good. So what I imagine happened is that Tactician Mudfleck was probably a little too good in playtesting, and then they just scaled it back a little bit more. I don't know for sure. I don't really remember what happened with this one, but it needs a little bit more to kind of just push it over the edge. And even then, you'd be dancing on dancing on the line of being disgusting. Does Mudflex React make it so the opponent can't react with things like Bloodthirsty? That is correct, because you are killing it for his ability. So yeah, that could be that could be something that is considered worth it, But so you're gonna play Tactician Mudflex. If you're expecting everybody to run front rank fighters, yeah, let's go for it. Tactician Mudflex all the way, and that guy will shine for sure. But I don't think we're gonna see that. So those are the Warlords. Let's go one last shot, give you guys the overview of the Warlords. Again, Nothrogs as a whole, looking pretty good. And mainly because what held them back in CE was their lack of starters. They don't have many starters, but they have really good starters this time around. Gunda especially. MVP, the Nothrog starter of choice for most formats. 3 attack, 9 AC, just react once per turn before Gunda suffers a wound, gains +5 attack, 1 HP, and +1 level. So it's one of those like you get defense and you get even more offense, and you don't have to sacrifice much for it. Sure, they wear off and go away, but also the fact that it gets +1 level means it can do stuff like the facing the demons, the skip your order thing. So Gunda, once you're wounded, play facing the demons. That's a +5 melee strike, and then their next order is going to be another +5 melee strike, unless they kill a character who's already slated to die. So that could be a pain. Or Gunda just with Fatraka is just nuts. Lorik also with Fatraka is nuts, because Lorik gains an extra HP with like Seize Life or just the reactability or Final Blessing, and is now going 3 ranks for melee strikes, so it can swing at the opposing Warlord, which is really cool. Vaxen's there for a super defensive start, but you probably don't need it. Ernak's there if you're going to play some cool, like move someone forward to the front rank and have them swing immediately. If you need tempo, it's there. I mentioned it in CE2, and not many people kind of used it, but Ernak's there. Just remember it's there because there is potential there to do some cool stuff. And then Trug was one of the newer cards that came in the starters for Epic. Lets your back rank characters spend order to do a melee strike to an extra rank. So it gave you more reason to play some of those high attack Nothrogs that never saw play in anything. So I like the design of Trug. He is a little weak in terms of stats, but like that ability is really cool. So like I love the design of the card. Is an absolute option for it. Nothrog's missing Erg though. Really wish they had Erg in this set, but they don't. So level 2s. We have we'll start with the least notable one. Is Hellbringer's Quill. If you need that one big siege shot, just a +8 to start off to kill Brother Domini, Hellbringer's Quill is your answer. So it's just a built-in range strike, so that's really why it gets noted. Tempo Band, though, is probably the better of the range strike starting options because of the flexibility to be able to shoot the opposing second rank out, or stay back if you need to keep your ranks more stable and shoot from the back rank. Just moving around, doing shots, adds a lot more flexibility to it. Jedi Master Zan says, what about Senuris? I will show Senuris, who I absolutely love. I would not recommend starting him. Playing him from your deck, absolutely. Guy is awesome, especially out of Sargok. Playing him and Destroyer's Armor. So let's pop him up here. So he's very weak, +2 attack, 9 AC, 1 HP, 1 skill. Melee strikes inflict an additional wound equal to his level. And then the react, after he performs a melee strike that killed an equal or higher level character, permanently gains 1 level, 3 attack, and 1 HP. So you have this guy. You can see he's punching through a door. That's very impressive. Those Votar, they know what they're doing. But like from the cards to remember slide, if you look at Destroyer's Armor, this is something, it's a level 2 item that he can equip. So Senuris plus Destroyer's Armor is 2 + 3 attacks for 3 wounds a pop, which is really, really, really cool. Or if you get Senuris out, you manage to level him up and then put Destroyer's Armor on him, He's level 4 doing 4 wounds, and he's at an even bigger strike and has that extra HP. And then as he's killing the bigger characters, he's just getting huger and huger and huger. So Senoras, great card. I would not recommend starting it though. That is just my personal preference. Especially just playing him from hand because of this other level 2, Nightmaster Rests on the bottom left. Once it's an assassin, which you probably will never use, but spend react. After you put a character to play, that character performs a melee strike. So if you're going to play Senoras from your hand, use Nightmaster Rest. He swings, kills a character, levels up, is now demanding respect, has 2 HP, and now is going to go to town, do another 2 HP with its next one. Can only level up once per turn though. But so that kind of tempo and that kind of thing is why I would say play Senoras from your deck. Don't start him. But if you do, that's fine. You're leaving yourself open to getting blown out just because of the amount of aggression that can come in this format. And that would be the Epic Edition analysis for Epic Edition for the March tournament. So that is my analysis, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Hope that, there's a lot that you guys disagree with. I already know a few that you all are going to yell at. But this is just my opinion of where I see Epic Edition going. As a whole, I'd say I don't know if this set is more fun than the previous blocks we've done. I'd say the power level is higher. There's no gravity flux, so it doesn't have that. But there just seems like there's so much. It seems like they tried to make everything as broken as you can, but without, but still trying to handcuff some of that power. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's let's make this power level so high, but then let's put all these handcuffs in way to kind of safety measure and just let players find ways to just unlatch things and let things go nuts. That's the best analogy I would give to explain Epic Edition. But it's definitely a newer one because there's no exhaustion. So we're playing without that. That's just something, that's really it. And it should be a fun tournament as always. I hope to see a lot of creativity, I would say. I hope everybody, Free Kingdoms are still there with their stupidness. I'd say Free Kingdoms still the best. But then, looking at all the other factions, there's a viable option for each one. Devs can go Adonis, and Adonis can absolutely win this tournament for sure. Dwarves, Stonefish Gargoyle, you'll see him all over this event. Elves, Carebray, I'd say is the best option. Cathal Rowan, it's all there. Freaks, again, it could be any Free Kingdom. Mercenary Tavis is still around, and Nothrog's Desi, I'd say, and Petrarca are. So every faction has a top tier warlord, and that can be really cool. I can see any of them kind of taking it down. So in that sense, I hope to see a top 8 has a lot more variety than what we've seen. Maybe some of these factions who haven't cut yet will start making it but it's all going to depend on you guys, the players, where you want to go with what you think. What's the flavor of the month? Do you want to play something different than you've played before? Do you want to play something new? A lot of good options you can go with. I'm giving you this analysis on the 7th, and decks are due in 5 days, so you don't have too much time to test, but hopefully a lot of you guys are already testing, so let's see. Hopefully my analysis just kind of triggers some other more ideas for you guys, just what's going on, but I think that's a good place to wrap up. So I wish you all the best of luck for Epic Edition. Hopefully you guys are having fun building decks. If you have any questions, by all means, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to chat Warlord with you guys. Just give you my opinion on things. If you want to reach out and tell me my opinion sucks, I'll also talk to you about that. I'll tell you why you guys are wrong, or I'll agree with you why I was wrong. Either way, we'll have a good time just talking about this game that we all love to play. But we will also be covering all my matches as we have done for Epic. Have not been streaming as much in terms of coverage. That's mostly just, IRL stuff has been coming in the way of my streaming abilities and just lack of time. working 12-hour days sucks. They need to really, they need to know that I need to come and start streaming for you guys. Unfortunately, you guys don't pay as well as my actual job. So that's the only reason why I can't do that. But hopefully I can get some more content out for you guys as much as possible. Try and stream weekday nights if I can. But otherwise, definitely any match I play will absolutely be streamed. But if not mine, check out and give a shout out to our other resident streamer for Warlord, good old Sly Fox, the Lord of Baraxton himself, bringing in the German flavor too. Can do the German side of it. So it's really good that he's doing a lot of the streaming too, and we have vastly different time zones, so it gives us a lot more coverage. And anyone who has streaming capabilities, I encourage all you guys, stream your matches, like talk it out. If you want, like block out your hand so everyone doesn't see your hand, because I can say that, just I don't think anyone does it, but that's the option is always there for someone to go on stream and stream snipe you. But you could take that away just by cropping out your layout if you really want. I don't, just because I like to teach you guys like why are my decisions or what are my plans are, so you can kind of see it all unfold. But you can all do that as well. Just get more content on it for it, guys. Let's all take a look. I love the tight knit community. I love the tight knit fact that we all know what each other's games are happening. We're all talking about it. We're all excited. Like, again, it feels like that this game never died, and that's perfect. And that's awesome for what we got. So with that, thank you guys for watching this very, very, very long analysis. Hopefully you all find it entertaining, if not informative. But take it easy, guys. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much.